Good evening, everyone. Hello. I hereby call to order the September 2025 town meeting for the Cheverly Mayor and Council. I will proceed to call the roll, then we will do the pledge, and I believe we have at least one agenda adjustment that will be necessary. I am here, the town administrator is here, the chief of police is also present. Is the council member from Ward 1 present? I believe he's not here yet. If you are online, sir, please make yourself known. Ward 2?
Present.
Ward 3?
Present.
Ward 4?
Present.
Ward 5, Councilmember Garces? I can't. Oh, hello. I can't see you. I'll move my screen over. Okay. And Ward 6?
Present.
All right. Seeing a quorum present to conduct business, we will now proceed to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so I think the recording just went on. So just to recap, we have convened the meeting and all of the council members, with the exception of Council Member Wade, are present and accounted for. Council Member Wade, please make yourself known when you are able to join the meeting. Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm seeing Councilmember Fry has let me know that Councilmember Wade is present in the attendees, so all 7 elected officials are present at this time. And also for the record, Town Attorney DeLoach is present. Let's proceed with item 3, the agenda. Council, you have the agenda in front of you. I believe that we are in need of the addition of an update from Keller Construction. Mr. Galloway, what do you think about adding this after your report or as the second half of your report?
If we can add it right before my report, right after the Youth Town Council nominations, that would be ideal.
All right. Council, is there a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of an 8B Keller Construction update?
I have a question, just point of clarity. Do we have members in the community that are here for 7 or 8?
I don't know if anyone from the planning board is attending for 7, or if that is simply a discussion that Councilmember Tanzi is going to lead.
Okay. If we don't,
And I don't know about 8.
Yeah, just because we have guests, I would not want to make them wait until closer to the end of the meeting to come present. If there's a way to make sure that we get all of our guests to kind
Are
of
there
front load them.
any youth council members present for item 8, which is the nominations? Potential members, I guess I mean to say. All right, well, what's the will of the council? Do you want to move up the nominations? I mean, no one is here. Maybe someone will join online, and it's your call.
So whatever guests we have here that are here to speak on one of the agenda items, if we could put them towards the front of the agenda so they're not sitting through everything else.
Keller?
Yeah, is Keller here?
Yeah, they're here, but they can go at that.
At the... Okay, if that's how you guys want to do it.
All right, is there a motion from the council?
I move to amend the agenda as suggested by the mayor.
So that would be to add an 8B Keller Construction update and then approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Garces with the second. Is there any discussion of the motion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? We're going to count that as a 6-0 approval. Keller Construction is 8B now on the agenda. Moving to item 4, CNPP grant, Mr. Galloway. Would you like to hear from Mr. Knipe?
Yes.
Mr. Knipe, are you available? Are you the representative?
Green light. Okay, thank you. Mayor and Council, I am the Vice President of Community Native Planting Project. We are requesting another town grant to cover expenses, mostly general liability insurance and director and officers insurance as listed on page 5 of the agenda packet. Also on page 6, we have the listing of expenses from last year's town grant. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Galloway, anything to add at this time?
The only thing I have to add is working with the Community Native Planting Project has been a pleasure. They've helped us out on a lot of projects as it relates to the town. So, Mayor and Council, without further ado, I endorse this project and recommend to the Mayor and Council that we move forward with awarding the Community Native Planting Project the grant.
Council, any questions for Mr. Knipe or the town administrator? My only question is that we don't have any problem or policy issue with paying, with a town grant to pay insurance, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's been done in the past.
Any questions, Mr. Glowahick?
I just, for clarification, so how does this compare to previous, have we done this previously, and how does this compare to previous grants that we've done for?
We have done this before. The way that we look at it is we look at the overall impact on the community, right? And ensuring that their liability is meeting some of our specifications whenever they do work within the town. So say, for instance, 5701 Landover Road, a huge project that they're working on, that insurance is great in the event that they have to use it, and they're working on our property. So I definitely encourage any and all partners that we have to have this type of insurance, especially if they're working in those type of areas on the town property. But this is just another level of cover for the town as well.
I'll just add, the amount is very standard. Many of our groups come in for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. Mr. Galloway researches and makes sure they're in good standing, all the receipts have been turned in, all the expenses were appropriate in the past, et cetera, and that's the case here. Hearing no further questions or comments from the council, then we will put the approval of this grant on the October 9 town meeting agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 5. This is EJAT. And so I think, go ahead and come on up. I think, and some of this will also apply to green infrastructure when we get there. I think what we're going to want to do is hear from, in this case, EJAT, for 10 or 15 minutes, going over your presentation, your slides, the important parts of the information you've given us. And then at the conclusion of 10 or 15 minutes from you, then turning to the mayor and council, seeing what questions folks have, and then if there are comments from others online or in person, we will hear from those probably 2 minutes apiece, given the time constraints. Does that work? Council, you're good with that?
Question?
Yes, sir.
Do you want us to set this for 15 minutes? The timer?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Why not?
We ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you to the mayor and council for inviting us to speak to you tonight. This is EJAT's second second presentation to the mayor and council. I'm Julia Mosley, one of the two team leaders and for EJAT, and I will be introducing our members, some of whom are here and many of whom are online, and then I will be introducing Tad Abram, who will handle the balance of the presentation and introduce folks that are part of our team, not necessarily our members, but part of our team. EJAT is the Environmental Justice Action Team, a community-based group with members from Cheverly, Seat Pleasant, and Cedar Heights. We do not represent the town of Cheverly. We are a community volunteer organization. We work closely with MDE and sometimes with EPA and sister environmental groups in Maryland and the District of Columbia. We meet twice a month, and MDE and University of Maryland participate in these scheduled meetings. I'd like to identify our members, some of whom, as I said, are here tonight, and some are attending virtually. Thurman Jones, Cedar Heights; Ray Mosley, Cheverly; Tad Abram, our retired MDE Air Director and our guru; Karen Moe, Cheverly; Marvalee Nettles Simpson, Seat Pleasant; Sophia Riazi Sikowski, Cheverly; Layla Riazi, Cheverly; Sheila Sallow, Cheverly; Tavoya Bing Young, I didn't see Tavoya tonight, Seat Pleasant; and Alice Goldberg, Cheverly. Just a brief clarification, the agenda identifies this as CAB/EJAT. That's not exactly correct. We're not CAB, although some of our members, Karen, Ray, Layla, are members. EJAT evolved from CAB and focuses on the communities in our area of the county. CAB includes members representing Curtis Bay and Turner Station from the Baltimore area. We would now like to play our 3-minute video. Hopefully this will help put some things in perspective.
Welcome to Ambition Air Justice. We are a coalition of community members from Cheverly, Fairmont Heights, Seat Pleasant, Cedar Heights, and adjoining neighborhoods, partnered with academic institutions and environmental groups. Our story is about our communities, our air quality, our health, and our need for environmental justice. The EPA's EJ screen assesses the excessive environmental justice burden of pollution in the midst of our neighborhoods, showing heightened rates of asthma and a lower life expectancy. This is what is in our community. Co-located with our schools, parks, and homes, you'll find recycling and aggregate industries, warehouses, and
EJAT produced this video for the first of 2 grant applications that we did. This was a group effort, but we also wanted to thank S31 Engineering, Sarah Watson, who donated a considerable amount of time for technical assistance and got us started, and team member Alice Goldberg, who narrated and got it over the finish line. Our air quality grant successfully passed multiple levels of review before funding was cut in May, essentially for all EPA grants. The application remains in limbo while funding issues are being litigated. I want to introduce Tad Abram, our team member. You all know him. He presented our session last year. Tad was with MDE for 40 years, 20 years as Director of Air and Radiation. In retirement, he works with groups like EJAT and groups in the district. He's brought us to meet many people. We all knew that Tad was well-known and nationally respected, but if we had any doubts, in November, Ray and I went with Tad to a National Clean Air Conference in Chicago, and it was obvious to us then that Tad almost has rock star status with the national clear air environment and regulation communities. So, Tad Abram, thank you.
I'm not sure an air pollution engineer could ever become rock star, but I do have a lot of good contacts. So, Diane, are you going to be able to bring up the presentation on the slides?
Yes, we can bring it up. Was it submitted to the town?
Yes.
Yes,
It
all
was
right.
Submitted, so I'll start talking anyway. Do I have to do
Giselle, if you
anything
can
to get
share
up
the
and running?
screen with the presentation, that would be great.
So I'll just get going on anyway until it gets brought up. Do I need to do anything to bring it up? No, she'll go up. Oh, okay, great. There we go. So we got about 15 minutes. I'll try to stick to that. Is that about what we got? Or a little less? Okay, I'll try to breeze through this. Julia already went through the partnership piece. We got a great partnership. We got scientists from University of Maryland. I'd like to point out a couple of them in the audience: Russ Dickerson, Tim Canty, Ava Pushnig, but great group of people. Great group of residents working with us. Not just Cheverly, Seat Pleasant, Fairmount Heights, good group of people, all well-intended. And then we've even got some national experts working with us these days. Got a couple of folks from California who are experts on showing how air quality works. But let me get into the meat of the presentation. Just a little bit on, why you retired, why are you doing this? This is a piece of my job that didn't get done very well when I was there for 40 years. This piece where certain communities have lots and lots of stuff in their community. Trucks, roadways, businesses, and that combined impact really was never looked at very well. So you have areas sort of like the Sheriff Road corridor area, and you got Turner Station, you got Curtis Bay. So this is really an interest of mine, trying to figure out. The Clean Air Act doesn't deal with it well either. So that's why I'm doing this. I think that the most important thing to understand real quickly is that I'm going to skip around a little bit. Go past the outline. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The partnership. Really started in about 2017-18. University of Maryland, Dr. Scobie Wilson worked with town leadership and got a really good partnership going. It's been doing great since then. MDE joined about a year later. The county joined, EPA joined. It's been a very good partnership. We also have a lot of residents, not just Cheverly, from surrounding communities as well. Next slide, please. MDE joined the effort. This is when I was the air director there. My background, I'm an engineer by training. I was the air director in Maryland for 20 years. Got my degree from Brown University, and I still love air pollution work. I'm still passionate about it. But when MDE joined, they did something really interesting. They did an intensive study for about half a month And out of that intensive study, they sent inspectors out everywhere in and around the Cheverly area, and they gave the group a really nice report in 2021 with about 10 recommendations. Almost all of those recommendations are now being implemented, and some of the stuff is actually working. So it's sort of interesting. There are some challenges, but some of it is actually working. Next slide, please. Again, it's working. Some good news. Some of the main pollutants are going down. Some of the less traditional pollutants are not such good news. The local folks should feel great about the progress that's being made. That says there's just a huge amount of work to continue to get done. Next slide, please. This is one slide. This is a really important slide. The red bar is the average fine particle levels in 2017, 2018. The green bar is average fine particle levels last year. Fine particles is one of the most deadly pollutants in the air. And so this is great news. About a 25% drop in fine particle levels since this partnership got started. That's really good news. Next slide. This is not such good news. This is a pollutant called black carbon. Ray Mosley is my black carbon expert. He has one of the monitors at his house, and he's constantly letting me know when things don't look bad. But if you look at the blue and the green lines, that's the measured data for black carbon and diesel particulate matter. The red line is the EPA. It's not really a standard. It's a threshold for acceptable cancer risk. And the purple line is the MDE line. So what it shows is that the levels in the Cheverly area, diesel particulate matter primarily, are about an order, maybe 2 orders of magnitude higher than what EPA and MDE would traditionally accept. And so this is actually one of the biggest challenges, the diesel piece of this. Next slide. This is the network. This is a really great thing that's happened here. This isn't in every community across the country. Maybe California has more of these, but this is a community monitoring network that's been set up around the Cheverly and surrounding communities areas. It's spread out all over the place. And this provides data 24/7, 365 at about 25 to 30 spots throughout the Cheverly area. It's really a powerful tool, and we're going to be talking about that data a little bit. Next slide, please. The group focuses on air pollution, but there are other issues that have come up a lot. And so when I first started doing this, the issue that came up a lot was the explosions. I think they called them booms, but they were more than booms because it was explosions with air pollution and loud noises. And so over the past 2 to 3 years, there's been a big effort trying to figure out how to work to make that process better, and it actually has worked relatively well. One of the cornerstones is that MDE has about 20 inspectors for 10,000 sources, so anything they can get from people reporting to the MDE hotline about problems that MDE just can't get to all the time has been helpful. So a lot of people have been reporting on the explosions. There was a big explosion in 2024, got a lot of attention. MDE did some very intense investigations of that, and the problems have gotten a lot better. The explosions have become much less, they're not as big a deal, they're not as often. They still happen, but there's been some big progress. It's also about that time that the community started to meet with the company, and there was some progress made there. So generally, this is something that's on the path towards getting better. There are a couple other issues with this company. There's an enforcement action EPA's taking, and then there's a permit that MDE needs to do that's about 10 to 15 years too late. But generally, there's been a lot of good progress with this one. Next slide, please. I don't talk about this a lot. Last time, I think I talked about this a lot, but because of the partnership with MDE, MDE is implementing some emission reduction programs in the Cheverly and surrounding communities areas that they're not implementing elsewhere across the state. Maybe Curtis Bay is getting as much attention, but Cheverly's getting a lot of attention. It has to do with doing targeted inspections of stationary sources. These are the guys with smokestacks, guys that don't move around, not on wheels. It could be a concrete plant, could be a metal recycling plant, could be a whole bunch. They're all over the place. Big ones, little ones, dry cleaners. So MDE's been doing a targeted inspection program. It's been working relatively well. Diesel emissions, I'm going to talk about that quite a bit. MDE is doing MDE and Maryland State Police are doing a lot to reduce diesel emissions. Fugitive dust just off of roads, dust off of businesses is a big deal, and MDE's making an extra effort to make sure that the fugitive dust laws are met. And the monitoring network's great, and I think I'll go to the next slide because I could talk about this. I got some of these in double. Big challenges. The black carbon and diesel particulate matter are probably the big challenge. It's both a stationary source problem and a mobile source problem. It's something that we're going to ask the town if they'd like to help out with. So at the end, if we get to that, we'll talk about it. The three areas that we're trying to really push for next year are get the word out. Very few people know that the air quality isn't as good as it should be in the Cheverly, Fairmount Heights, Sea Pleasant area. And so we're working on a tool. We'll talk about it in a second. Increase the efforts on diesel. And finally, we're at a point now where EPA is sort of taking a time out, and so funding is starting to become an interesting challenge. Next slide, please. This is one of the big projects. This is a mock-up of the lead page to a website air quality dashboard. Ava Pushnig, would you raise your hand? This is the wonderful student we have putting this together. This is going to be a big deal. This is going to be something where if you're interested in air quality and you want to know what the air quality was at your house yesterday, you're going to be able to go onto this website, hit a button, and get there. You're going to be able to figure out exactly what was going on at your house yesterday. The little slide in the middle shows a week this year where basically the bars show every day of the week, and it was basically, we use the EPA color codes where red is unhealthy and orange is approaching unhealthy and purple is very unhealthy. So there are weeks like this where the air is very unhealthy in the Cheverly area for a week. And the little buttons around the side, it's everything from what did the air quality look at my house yesterday? Who's doing anything about this? How can I get involved? Those kinds of things. So next slide, please. We would love to get some hopefully easy town support on this by just information to the public about the availability of how to get onto the website and get to the dashboard, maybe through the town newsletter, maybe through meetings like this, whatever works. But getting the word out to people that this dashboard exists when it's up and running, we really love to get some help from the town if that's possible. And again, one of the reasons it's important to get this stuff out to people is that a lot of folks have asthmatic kids. And if you know the air quality is not going to be good in the next couple days, you can adjust that behavior. It also is important because the more people report stuff, the more stuff MDE can get to and stop. So next slide, please. This is also one where the town could really help. I know the mayor and I know some of you all have met with MDE leadership quite a bit. Adam Ortiz is now Deputy Secretary at MDE. So very important meeting about a month ago where MDE made a lot of commitments about being extra aggressive to continue their work to make the air cleaner in Cheverly. And the more people that are keeping track of what MDE is doing, the more likely it is they're going to get to that. Downside of that meeting was the community had asked for a federal reference monitor to be put into Cheverly. That's a Clean Air Act monitor. These sensors that Cheverly has cost maybe, the low-end ones cost $200, the high-end ones cost $5,000. The FRM costs $200,000, and MDE runs it. So we're going to continue to push. It didn't work this year, but we're going to continue to push for a Clean Air Act FRM monitor to go into the Cheverly area. And anyway, the more pressure, the more interest the town has on this with MDE, I think the better it's going to work. So next slide, please. This is the diesel piece. The town could really help out with this if that's possible. Right now, MDE and the state police are doing routine sweeps for illegal diesel idling in and around the Cheverly area. EJAT provides MDE with information on where there appears to be trucks lining up doing illegal diesel. I'm sure everybody around this table has driven past lines and lines of trucks that are parked in strange places that they probably shouldn't be parked in. And so it is illegal to idle your truck in Maryland unless it's a refrigeration truck. And so these sweeps have been going on. There is an opportunity for a collaboration with the county police and the town police. I think the collaboration with the county police has already started. The town could get involved in that. And if you're interested, I would be happy to link everybody up with MDE. And there's two pieces of it. One is that, yes, the enforcement is important, but there's a behavior change piece of this. Right now, most of the truckers don't even know that idling that they do is illegal. And so there's an educational piece. And so the bigger the presence, the more it's going to succeed. So next slide, please. I just went through all this. I won't repeat it. But anyway, this could be everything from actually getting your police to help with the sweeps to just doing some educational work. So whatever the town could do, that would be great.
And Tab, we do have the video ready to run, and that gives a great visual of what people are now.
Okay.
So whenever you or Mr. Galloway thinks is appropriate for that video.
Next slide, please. This is the tough one. Where's the money? We're working pretty hard on this. We think MDE has enough money probably for the next year, maybe year and a half. They got a big grant. I actually was part of getting that grant. So MDE's got some money for a while. But we are going to need to have to continue to sustain the effort. And when I say sustain the effort, one of the cornerstones is that the University of Maryland has been absolutely essential in keeping the network up and running. It's one thing to ask Ray Mosley to check his data. It's another one to ask Ray Mosley to go fix it. So having people that can come fix things and do that. So we will, the concept that we're pushing, this is based upon what other areas of the country are doing, is that the local folks, the county folks, the state folks, and the federal folks need to figure this one out, talk about funding, figure out where the money is. I don't think it's going to be a lot of money into the future. I think the big money to buy all the stuff is already done, but it's going to be a real challenge in the next 2 or 3 years is maintaining this system, keeping the network up and running. Next slide, please.
Ted, let's just do 2 more minutes on this.
Okay.
And then we'll get to questions.
Tougher long-term issues. I think I'm getting close to the end anyway. There are some tough issues that we'd like to at least get onto your radar screen. One of them is the way land use and zoning decisions are made. I mean, it is at the heart of why we have these problems. You have heavy and medium-duty industrial zoning. You have those types of businesses move in, you have housing costs drop, you have minority communities move into these areas, and so you end up with, it's an automatic driver. It's something that California's working on. Be happy to talk, this is a tough one, but we know that the county's got a big role in this, but it would be good to start to have discussions about other areas of the country are talking about how to do a better job to not keep putting the same old big emission sources in the same communities over and over again. The other one is every once in a while a controversial source comes up. I think a couple years ago it was the District of Columbia bus maintenance yard that was going to go on Claybrick Road. And some areas have started to try to figure out how to make sure that that those types of businesses, if they're going to move into an area that already has really bad air quality, how do you do that and not make the air quality worse? Some areas have moratoriums, some areas just have procedures for making sure that when companies move in, they're doing all the right thing to reduce their emissions. But that's another tough future type of issue. And of course, the funding thing. And I think I might be at the end, so let me go do one more. Yep, this is the last slide. So this is just a laundry list of some of the things that would be great for the town to help out with if they could. I think I've gone through most all of them. Some of them are relatively easy. Things like I think EJAT would be very interested in updates on what's going on with the Maryland Stone facility. We don't know if that's proceeded. We think that is one of those potentially high-emitting sources that could be moving into an area with already real bad air quality. And the other one is if anybody knows anything about the DC bus maintenance facility, that we think with the funding was cut. I know that the mayor cut the funding. Their effort, however, is not dead. So we don't know if that's going to come back to life. So that would be interesting. And the other two would be to help us communicate. One would be to let us know about let the residents know about the dashboard. The other one would be to publicize the MDE reporting lines. I can't tell you how important it is to have people to report problems they see, because MDE's limited staff. They have a limited number of people. On the hard side, I just went through all of this planning and zoning issue, the money issue, the issue with big new sources, helping out with the diesel illegal idling thing, working with the county. So you have that as a resource. I also think that there's a version of this that's a letter. You've handed it out. So that's it. I'll be happy to take questions. Sorry, I worked a little fast. I think we originally thought we had somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes. But okay.
Yeah, thank you for this, Ted. And Council, if you haven't seen it, we have the list of 8 items, the recommendations for action. So we will go into that. Council, are there questions for EJAT? Yes, Councilmember Wade.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for providing a presentation. This is definitely something near and dear to me as my oldest son who has major allergies. So we're very cognizant of that, having asthma, which is probably a cause of a lot of the environmental stuff, and I'm enjoying the work that you do. Also want to commend you for partnering with local other residents outside of Cheverly. And a special shout out to my predecessor, Marlene Nettle Simpson, all the way down in Seat Pleasant, for being part of that. I guess from that standpoint, how can, I'm not sure if it's in here as well. If you did, I apologize. How can we expand that to other parts of the county and making that available to other residents, and how can us council further do that as well, if you haven't mentioned that already?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And it's sort of covered it a little bit, but I think one of the things that we got a group of 15 people that follow this and follow it really well. There's probably 10,000 other people that don't have any clue what's going on. So we're hoping that this web page with a user-friendly dashboard where people can go in and get their basic questions answered, like what's going on by my house? How do I get a monitor? Those kinds of questions are the kinds of questions. So I think through that we can, there's been discussions about other areas as well. EPA asked us a lot about Bladensburg. And so, yeah, this is something that, and part of it is getting the word out that this kind of a process is going on and seeing who else. If you know of anyone who might also be interested, elected officials in other townships, let us know, and we'll do it the best we can.
And just a follow-up, just a suggestion, even possible incentives for the, say, other residents of other municipalities or unincorporated as well, and have y'all presented, say, this to we have 27 municipalities along in Prince George's County, so have y'all had the opportunity or presented to talk with the town, those other towns or cities, and say, hey, this is something that's available, maybe incentives for residents in those particular municipalities or the unincorporated area for them to put those monitoring devices there as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We've done that a little bit as we've expanded into other areas like Seat Pleasant, like Fairmount Heights. We've done some of that, but I don't think we've done a presentation to a town council meeting or anything. We would be happy to do that. That's a great idea. We should work on that.
Mr. Tanzi.
Good evening. Also, thank you for the presentation and the recommendations. I was especially taken by number 6, which is pursue an update on the Clay Brick Road concrete batching plant. And I hope you know more than I do, we are surrounded by industrial zoned sites. I guess there are 2 parts to this. One is, do you have a sense that existing facilities are not following modern codes, or is the problem that modern codes are not adequate when you're this close to residential. And as a sort of addendum to that, is there like grandfathered in programs, since it's been industrial for a long time, that might still be allowed for whatever reason, but would not be allowed if it were to be constructed today because standards have changed?
Yeah, sure. Great question. I'll work backwards. Very little is grandfathered. That
Okay.
doesn't mean that every 3 years, new regulations are adopted for concrete batch plants. So if you built your plant 10 years ago, you met the requirements as to what was required 10 years ago, and that's generally where they are. Every once in a while, there'll be one that updates. So it's not really grandfathering, but sometimes the controls improve over time, and MDE will, on occasion, if it's a really important source, like incinerators often get updated every couple of years. One of the tough issues is that if you're in an area, and I'll just use Curtis Bay as an example, where it's very clear that there's really not, the air pollution's not that good in Curtis Bay, and you're going to be adding a new source, adding a lot of new air pollution, that is not handled well at all. As a matter of fact, there is no real good code for that in Maryland to deal with that. There is now code in New Jersey and in California, and I think one of our recommendations is that, if you were interested, we could talk a little bit about what the minimum set of things a new company moving in should maybe be required to do. Some local governments are doing that. So I think the glitch isn't that the codes are bad. The glitch is that there's just no code that says if you're moving into an area that already has a lot of air pollution sources, what extra stuff do you have to do? New Jersey's done it. I think the other one was.
Russ also would like to make a comment on the program, since he's one of them.
Okay. Russ, do you have a comment on this one? Sure. This is Russ Dickerson. He is a leader at the University of Maryland, has done atmospheric chemistry for years, and has been a great partner. So,
thanks for this opportunity. Yes, Tad and I worked together for decades. I can speak into this mic. Let's see. I am also a commissioner in the Maryland Climate Change. Press the button. There we go. Now we're good. As a commissioner in the Maryland Climate Change Commission, I go to those meetings, and these actions take money, they take resources. So where's that going to come from? Well, it turns out there is a pot of money called RGGI, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, that comes into Maryland every year. Well, it's going to be a tough budget year in Annapolis. So everybody's going to have their eye on the RGGI money. The RGGI money is supposed to be used for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. What's that have to do with black carbon in your neighborhood? Well, that includes removing diesel trucks, replacing them with electric trucks, and just generally generating electricity in cleaner ways. So what you can do is tell your delegates, your senators, make sure that that fund, those RGGI funds go toward cleaning the atmosphere and not sort of into the general operating fund of the state. So that won't cost you anything, and you probably have some influence in Annapolis as mayor and town council. That's all. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any technical questions.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Council, any further questions for EJAT? Mr. Galloway.
No, I have a comment. Tad, thank you so much for all that you've done. I've been working with you since 2019 on this, and the University of Maryland on these matters. So the bus thing did it for me. It made me a true believer of the power of community and influence, and just coming together for a greater cause. And that was led by you. So thank you so much. And I look forward to our continued collaboration and partnership.
well, the one I didn't mention, but it's money free to you. There are funds that help towns or counties replace older equipment with cleaner new equipment. And there are state funds, there's federal funds. I used to work with the folks down around the Port of Baltimore, and I think they spend about, $20 million to clean up older, where if you're going to be replacing one anyway, and there's some state or federal funding to help you do that, it's a good way to look at it. So we should talk about that.
Okay, not hearing anything else from council, are there any residents who would like to speak on EJAT's presentation for up to 2 minutes each? Just come on up, and you have to take a microphone. We don't have a podium tonight, and normally we would go around the room, but this is going around the room.
Mayor Watson, I do think the video is ready, if you were interested in that, so.
Go ahead, Mr. Price. I don't think we're going to have time for the video,
Okay.
but we can link to it on our website, I think. Your name and your ward, sir.
Fred Price, Ward 4.
Tad, can you turn on his mic?
It's on.
Oh, it's
Fred Price, Ward 4.
welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the chief for us to go around to the Cheverly Industrial Parks and check it. How much is that going to cost us? You got people to do that?
But it's not the staff, it's the experience, the education, the training that we don't have. These are primarily enforced by commercial vehicle inspectors, law enforcement officers that are commercial vehicle inspectors. It's a very special certification, so I'm going to have to look into it a little more closely.
Thank you. Number 3, it seems you're asking for federal money. You know this is the home of one of the Ivies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you do this without us, or do you need us to do this with you?
The effort, the partnership, these efforts have worked best with community-driven partnerships. I'm actually just a volunteer. I retired in 2022, and I do this as a volunteer. MDE's been very involved. They can do this, but they also appreciate the partnership. I think one of the big pieces of the partnership is, I said it earlier, it's about 25 inspectors for about 10,000 sources. So if there's things going on in your community, you need to report. And I think that's been I think Cheverly is now the #1 reporting community in the state right now, helping MDE out with where they ought to be looking. So it can be done by the state and it can be done by the feds, but it historically has worked best when it's been a partnership with the community.
But you would assist us or write grants and submit them to the town for their review to go out to get the money in. That's what I'm asking.
There have been efforts where we have worked together, and we've had some. I'm not actually the best person to advise on how to write grants, but there are people that can do that, and there's been quite a few times where we've gone out and tried to seek grants from. Mostly the grants have been from foundations and the federal government. I don't know if we've sought one from the town ever. So
there's been occasions that groups have signed on with Cheverly. We have a good rapport throughout the area. And then Cheverly does not go along with the area they want to go in. And they go out on their own. And they enter, if you go to Bladensburg and say, you use a Cheverly so-and-so, that's big stuff, okay? And you were talking about batching plants, and I remember a group went from Cheverly to Bladensburg when they were putting up the Masonic, some kind of parable concrete, and say, oh, we don't want this, we're from Cheverly. That wouldn't happen with you, would it?
If the community wants to express their opinions, I think that's the right of the community. Personally, I wouldn't. But if you're a local resident and have concerns about something going on in your community or in an area close to your community, I think that's the community member's right.
As a community member, I could go as Fred Price and say I'm opposed to this, but I can't go as I'm a member of the Cheverly Environmental Justice Committee and say I'm opposed to this if the mayor and council have not sent you to do that. Is that correct? Am I incorrect?
Well, the Environmental Justice Action Team is really just a group that's part of the partnership. It's really not a group that's been endorsed or created by Cheverly. It's a group of volunteers who are all trying to do the right thing to help clean up the air in the local area. And I don't think we've had any real run-ins with the town on anything.
I didn't say they have.
Right.
I said there have been groups. Cheverly proposed action for Hospital Hill, and there was a citizen on our planning board, an environmental group that didn't agree.
Yeah.
And he went out using the endorsement that he's from Cheverly to make a presentation, and I don't think that should be done in that. Although he won the lawsuit.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Any other residents? Go ahead and queue up. Your name and ward, please, ma'am.
Good evening, Joyce Jones, Ward 2. Add my thanks to everybody for your presentation. Tad, heard so much about you. Great to meet you in person. One quick question and one quick comment. In terms of the sort of box here about the opportunity to obtain funding to clean up diesel fleets that was mentioned, is there anything you can recommend as an interim level, and maybe we, can turn to our own public works people in terms of making sure that what we currently have is well-maintained, properly maintained, not polluting any more than it has to be, our own policies in terms of trucks in town idling. So that was one question I had, whether anything you can recommend along those lines. And then as far as a comment, obviously since we all know and you put in your report that the most vulnerable people are children and seniors, I would just suggest or offer that dealing with as many organizations, for example, libraries, schools in town, we have a parent resource center, we have a senior village in terms of the education part of it. I don't know if that's something that you've targeted. I'd love to hear anything about that.
Yeah, so do the first question first. There's no magic formula for which trucks to clean up. Usually it very much links up with a town's, or there's older vehicles are generally dirtier than newer vehicles. And so if you have an old trash truck or an old yard truck or an old, and you're going to replace it anyway, and you wanted to make sure you got a clean one when you replaced it, there is state and federal funding that can help pay for that truck that you're already going to buy. That's historically the kinds of trucks that got cleaned up right and around the port. There were trash trucks, there were boats, there were these trucks called dray trucks that run around the port. So I think that MDE has a group of people that can actually help you take a look at your fleet and tell you which are the ones that are the most likely successful retrofit ones. And so the working with schools, and there is some of that that's already going on, probably not as much as we probably should be doing, but that is an important, again, I'm going to go back to the dashboard piece. I think getting the word out and getting people to take a look at what the air quality is every single day is an important piece of connecting up with sensitive groups, letting people know what's going on.
Thank you so very much.
All right, thank you for that. Next. Name and ward, please.
Hi, my name is Tim Canty. My wife and I are Cheverly adjacent. We live on 63rd Avenue, but the other side of 202, so we're unincorporated Landover Hills. I'm an associate professor of atmospheric oceanic science at University of Maryland College Park. I'm an air quality scientist. My research group leads the air quality modeling for the state of Maryland. Tad brought me in recently on this project. I don't do the work the students do, Katie and Avi. Ava and Katie do all the real work here. I just wanted to introduce myself as a resource to the folks here because I live here too. I'm not just a scientist. I'm breathing the same air. And so if there's anything I can help with, I'm a short walk away. If you want to come up, have a beer, some barbecue, I'm happy to help. So a lot of resources. I'm the director of a statewide marine institute and also a member of the University of Maryland Climate Research Network with the whole purpose of that organization is science serving communities. And I think there's other opportunities we may be able to help Cheverly on flooding issues perhaps and weather-related tracking, that sort of thing, using other networks of low-cost sensors. So just wanted to introduce myself, say hi, and I'll leave my business cards here.
Yeah, please.
If anybody wants to get a hold of me. I've led undergraduate and graduate programs, so if you have residents who want some tips and tricks on getting their kids into school, happy to help with that too. So.
Yeah, thanks for volunteering. We thank you in advance for your long service to the town of Cheverly. Okay, please make sure that Mr. Galloway gets those details, Mr. Tanzi. Any other members of the public want to speak for up to 2 minutes on this topic?
Yes, Leila Riazi, Ward 1. What I would actually like to do is to give my 2 minutes to the video that we put together because that video is very significant for people to see how much we're affected. That video is 3 minutes long. The next person after me is willing to give a minute of their time as well. It is significant. It really isn't something we can put up and out, both because of the length, the size of it, but I do think it's important for it to be aired here. So, and I know Yvonne has it up and ready.
Any objection to watching the video? All right, let's do it. 3 minutes. Fire it up. Anyone else plan to speak? I do not have any, sir. If anyone else plans to speak, now's your time to sit. You have 3 minutes to get in the chair.
So Tim's message goes for us too. If you wanted anything else, just let us know. One-on-one discussions, anything else, just, very anxious to work with the town and council, the council of the town.
Yeah, thank you for your time and your generosity. You know a few of these people.
Members from Cheverly, Fairmont Heights, and adjoining neighborhoods partnered with academic institutions and environmental leaders. Our story is about our communities, our air quality, our health, and our need for environmental justice. The EPA's EJ screen assesses the excessive environmental justice burden of pollution in the midst of our neighborhoods, showing heightened rates of asthma and a lower life expectancy. This is what is in our community. Co-located with our schools, parks, and homes, you'll find metal recycling and aggregate industries, warehouses and food distribution centers, bus depots, intense diesel truck traffic, and heavy industrial operations. In 2019, the town of Cheverly partnered with the University of Maryland School of Public Health for the creation of a community-based air monitoring project. We built a hyper-local sensor network using low-cost purple air monitors. Along the way, we learned a lot about particulate matter and problems it causes in the human body. We grew increasingly alarmed about our exposure and harmful health impacts. In 2021, the Maryland Department of Environment responded to community concerns with a pilot targeted inspection of illegal idling trucks and emissions from industrial operations revealed by our sensor network to limited success, with much work remaining.
Okay, here are the semi-trucks lined up, parked illegally, waiting to get into the warehouses. It's 1, 2, 3. 38, 39, and there's number 40.
Over the past year, we expanded our network to include black carbon monitors and other monitors into surrounding neighborhoods. the new black carbon monitors recorded alarming toxic air pollution over the past year. Sustained unhealthy particulate numbers persist for 15+ hours frequently, indicating heightened health risks in our communities, which already shows stark disparity in health outcomes. Communicating the science and health impacts of toxic pollution presents a challenge. We established a community dashboard that reflects our volunteers' best effort to share information gathered by our air quality monitors, but we recognize it is limited. All people should have the right to clean air, but our air isn't healthy to breathe, and our communities are at elevated risk of illness and disease. Our communities have been overlooked and overburdened for too long. We need your help to take the next critical steps to achieve air justice and improve our quality of life.
All right, thank you for that. EJAT, thank you for your time. Tad, in particular, for being a super volunteer on behalf of not just Cheverly, but Seat Pleasant elsewhere. Mr. Galloway, can I ask you to take these 8 items and pick through them and come back to us at a later date?
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, thank you. Okay, let us move now to the next agenda item, which is the Green Infrastructure Committee discussion. We will start with let's say a 15-minute discussion or presentation from GIC. Council, you of course have the documents with the appendices in your packets, but let us start with a 15-minute presentation. Council, then we'll go to you for questions, and then we'll roll out. And then I think after the council is done asking questions or making comments, then we'll try to have a 20-minute or so discussion with 2 minutes of each public participation. Take it away, 15 minutes from the GIC.
Okay. Moving things around on the screen is always interesting. So my apologies for it taking a little bit to get the slideshow started. Can you hear me? Thank you. So thank you for taking time for us to have an opportunity to reintroduce the Green Infrastructure Committee to Mayor and Council and community. The Green Infrastructure Committee has been serving community since before 2011. So what we want to do is we want to welcome you for this opportunity. We also want to make it clear that we are here this evening continuing to be willing to serve. And a little bit about our background. We've been formed from a robust, environmentally grounded, volunteer-grounded resource tradition, something that when I moved to Cheverly, I found particularly beautiful about the community that I chose. We're entering our 15th year, but first began working with Mayor and Council back in 2008. The Cheverly GIC connects 40 members now, actually 41, depending upon people's travel plans, to the Green Infrastructure's plan to call to preserve, protect, and restore natural areas. So we wanted to address a few misperceptions that we think it's very important for everyone to know. The Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee and Sustainable Maryland Certified are an absolutely beautiful green and natural linkage. In fact, the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee, which I'll call the committee, introduced the town to Sustainable Maryland Certified back when it first came online in 2011. And wholly volunteer green teams such as GIC are fully welcomed by Sustainable Maryland Certified. The Cheverly GIC served as the town's green team for Sustainable Maryland Certified since the adoption back in 2011 of R-1-11. We attended the first training, we shepherded the initial certification, and our activities have been fundamental to Cheverly's continuing sustainability status. And our Green Infrastructure Plan serves as the mandatory Green Team Plan, and our website serves as a Sustainability Resource Center. So people have asked us, well, what do you do? So I thought, let's put together Cheverly by the numbers. So this is just a picture. I'm not going to read it all, but we've had 700 plus open meetings over our time of service. And it's important that these are open meetings to everyone, in person and hybrid, publicly listed, with sufficient time and all agendas and minutes being shared. 600 plus committee announcements and environmental updates at town meetings. We've been here. Often it's been Sheila, our chair, who has been here to give word about what's happening in community. 41 presentations that we've brought in to the benefit of town and community. And you can see some of the presentations listed there. We do this because it's important for community and for our elected officials to be able to have this knowledge. So, for whatever reason, it doesn't want to go. Okay. We have open cases, 8 long-standing and recent open cases. And those open cases are in your packet, and actually I'd like to just distribute them around as well. And those in the audience can have as well. And these open cases, these are not gotchas. One of our responsibilities, we feel, is to stay up to date to the best of our ability and make sure that mayor and council and the town have the information they need to continue to follow up on issues that are of environmental significance to the town and community. 29 formal recommendations. These are recommendations where the town has come to us, or we have found something of environmental significance that we have brought to the attention of the town and community. And 14 studies and reports, and you can see those listed there. So we've also collaborated on a number of issues with mayor and town. The Kilmer Street Park and Arboretum pedestrian path actually first came from the Cheverly Green Infrastructure looking at that and saying that there was a possibility there. When we talk about our members continue to expand, and we have a membership such that you don't have to be attending meetings. You can step in on projects. You can step in the ways in which you best like to serve in fulfillment of the Cheverly Green Plan and in support of the environment. And we have, as we say, one Cheverly Green site to unite us all, and the Cheverly Green Connect Facebook page. That's not just for us, that's for any environmentally minded organizations and community. If they don't have the ability to host material, we help them with that. So we're here tonight to talk about looking ahead. How do we get into a relationship that serves the need for the community and makes it so that we can all work together in a fashion that respects each other, recognizes independence, and invites collaboration? So we want to continue as an independent body. That has always been our strength since day one. Purpose to preserve, restore, and sustain the natural environment of Cheverly and surrounding areas. And this independent volunteer model has been adopted by several Maryland municipalities, and it was mutually understood by the town and the Green Infrastructure Committee from the committee's inception. So we researched, because that's what we do, we researched how to move forward in a manner that honors what we have come to understand Mayor and Council's desire for greater formality, and something that also offers supportive structure to our relationship and respects the Green Infrastructure Committee's independence and the volunteer and community governance nature of our organization. In our research, we have established that consultative status, which is a framework that is used by the United Nations Economic and Social Council as most reflective of the cooperation and collaborative relationship established between the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee and the town of Cheverly, over these past 14 years. So, as I said, it's source. What's important about this is it offers a progressive and yet operational way to enable government and independent bodies to work together, mutual collaboration and cooperation. Productive participatory work with government. This started back in 1945. As of now, there are 6,000 organizations, nonprofit organizations, that work with the Economic and Social Council, and they work to add value. Recommendations provided through consultative status both serve and protect the decisions of the mayor, council, and town. And this is important because when I say this, we have taken great care, and we'll revisit this, to never speak saying that we represent the town. We are not a town body, and that provides mayor and council the opportunity to either accept our recommendations or reject our recommendations and not be responsible for our recommendations. And that clear distinction is one of the values of collaborative status and very much benefits the town. It also benefits the town because we can go and doggedly pursue the information that we need. And as long as the town does not shut us off in that process, we can then be the people who are being forward-thinking with this, bringing it back to mayor and council, where you can have the ease to go through the information that we've acquired. Consultative status recognizes that independent community organizations have special competence, hands-on experience, and flexibility that is of great value to the town. Through consultative status, we provide informed analysis on environmental matters directly from our experience as committee members. We serve as an early warning agent for incoming or oncoming on the environment of Cheverly and surrounding areas. We play a major role in advancing the goals and objectives of the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Plan and helping guide mayor and council in that and supporting community and fulfillment of that. We engage in education and outreach to community, government bodies, private organizations to both teach and learn about our local environment and related emerging concerns. We are surrounded by gray, and we are trying to stay green. And not green as in the hugging of trees, however beautiful trees are, but green as in making sure that the health and prosperity of our community, which is so much tied to our green infrastructure, is protected. And to report and contribute essential environmental information and green practices at town and organization events. So why are we here? We are here to work on next steps. And what we see as next steps are to prepare a memorandum of understanding between the Cheverly GIC and the Cheverly Mayor and Council that honors mayor and council's desire for formality and supports a structure that's included within a draft resolution that we have offered, as we call Appendix F. And I have copies of Appendix F here to hand around the room. So one of the things and why we've done this is Appendix F offers a draft resolution that adopts consultative status as the relationship. It recognizes consultative status in relation to the Cheverly Mayor and Council. And it recognizes that back in 2011, when the resolution that has been often been brought forward as this resolution calls for appointing members of the Green Infrastructure Committee, it recognizes that the mayor and council at the time didn't neglect to appoint, but actively chose to accept the existing membership and governing structure of the Green Infrastructure Committee. They chose not to appoint members or officers as those members were in place with a functioning volunteer governed body. So no resolution has to be forever. So this draft resolution allows the mayor and council the opportunity to act positively, progressively, and operationally for the good of mayor and council, community, and the Green Infrastructure Committee. Let's get this. So to recap, the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee provides advance notice, well-researched information, local environmental context, and supports community. We consistently represent ourselves as independent from town government, and we have earned state, county, and local accolades because of the quality of our research, our apolitical investigation, and our willingness to invite robust discussion on environmental matters. We do not go into any situation with our minds made up. We are guided by the Green Infrastructure Plan, by the research that we do, and we are open to the input of community and mayor and council. We're a ready partner and resource for other environmental groups in Cheverly. We've served as a catalyst and an umbrella organization for Friends of Kilmer Street Park and Arboretum, the Community Native Planting Project, and the Environmental Justice Action Team. We connect and support environmental contributions of fellow environmental organizations. We invite them to collaborate on research, both within our town and in the surrounding community. We offer updates at GIC, offer for them to do updates at GIC meetings. We host material on greencheverly.org and share other org activities via Facebook and announcements. And throughout all of this, we continue to serve, we are here to serve, and we welcome finding out how else we can be of help. And now we invite questions and discussion. I am not going to be able to answer all of your questions, but we have other committee members here. I'm happy, whatever I can answer, I'm happy to answer, and I will ask others to come up if appropriate.
Yeah, I think we'd be happy to have anybody else from GIC who wants to sit at the table to do so. Totally up to you. Obviously, it doesn't have to be set in stone, but we do have 2 empty seats. So thank you for that, and thank you for your continued
Sheila,
work.
would you like to come up? I don't know if you heard. They're inviting, if anyone else from GIC would like to come up, that we have a space for people to come up to answer questions. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine.
I'll do my
okay.
best.
Well, let me just start out and say a couple things. Number one, thank you to GIC for doing this, for doing the report, and for continuing to do all this excellent research on behalf of the town. I didn't know about the open cases until I read your report a few days ago, so I'm going to be following up on all of those, and they are very fascinating, so thank you for that. I think we have a couple objectives in my mind, or I have a couple objectives. I'll just speak for myself. One is to come up to solve the administrative issue that we have, that we don't have a designated green team that is in a kind of planning board-like relationship with the town. That, designation or whatever term you want to, bureaucratic term you want to use, hasn't been in place for 18 months or so. At some point in the near future, that needs to be rectified. We have to have a greenish planning thing that we are in that kind of relationship with. Number 2 objective, I think, is to, at the same time, not disrupt or impair the special sauce that has made the GIC successful over the last 14 years. So whatever we want to do, whatever we end up doing to solve the first problem, I don't want to have us lose the potency, for lack of a better term, that GIC has brought to these issues consistently over the years. I think the third thing I'll say is that we have to, as part of the first item, having that official designation, we have to have someone that, a body that we can turn to make requests of, just as we have made requests of the planning board to look at XYZ property or so on. And so I'll stop there and invite council to make any comments or ask any questions before we move into a more of a back and
Mayor
forth.
Watson,
Yes.
may I answer some of the things that you put forward?
Oh, sure.
Okay. That would require me sharing, which I will do
You already
now.
made a presentation to answer what I just said.
I did, but I want to take us back to an important part of this. So when we're talking about the green team, the Cheverly Green Infrastructure has been the green team for the town. It does not require any formal relationship between the town and the green team. Many green teams for the Sustainable Maryland Certified Program are wholly volunteer green teams. They are not owned by the town, they are not appointed bodies of the town, and absolutely fully embraced in that. And in fact, in the last SMC, from what we understand, we contributed greatly to that effort and in the same way in which we have in the past, and we are willing to continue to do so.
All right, thank you for that.
And I may not have spoken correctly, so my chair. So.
Sure, and in the meantime, council, please put your hands up if you would like to speak or
Yes,
ask a question. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is really brief. I think that we're getting a little terminological problem here. Mayor Micah, you're using the term green team as a general thing to talk about any environmentally focused body. But green team also has a more specific meaning in terms of Sustainable Maryland Certified. So that's the way we're using it, and that's the way Layla just spoke of it. So maybe if you want to just say an environmental body or something like that and not use the term green team at all, unless we're talking about Sustainable Maryland Certified, we'd more be on the same page. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think, yeah, that's a good point. I think I'm speaking specifically about that designation. In other words, in my way of thinking, y'all don't have to agree with me, but GIC has not been the town's green team for the last 18 months or so. We need to somehow solve the missing green team thing for the town. And maybe it's Sustainable Maryland, maybe that's all that it means, but to my way of thinking, the town needs to be able, just as we point to the planning board for that basket of issues, we have to have a designated official body, however it's constituted, and maybe it is, maybe it will be GIC, I don't know, but right now it's not. It's clear to me that it's not. And so that is one of the questions that I want to solve, is to whom do we task such questions? Mr. Tansey.
I'm going to add on to that point. I think I did look into Sustainable Maryland a little bit, though I do not pretend to have the knowledge other people have. And it does seem like the town needs to appoint a green team. So it's not just whoever qualifies. It's we have to say this is the formal green team. And so I don't know if I would say exactly what Mayor Watson said, that we haven't had one for 18 months, but anyway, I consider that sort of a separate thing. I think taking a step back, we have to say, what does the town need? And how do we make sure we're getting all of it? My understanding of the history is that the Green Infrastructure Committee was created by resolution to implement the 2011 Green Infrastructure Plan, which means it exists in our, through our construction. And if it is no longer going to serve as a general green infrastructure advisory body, then we need to have some type of green, sustainable, whatever, advisory body that does serve as like a planning board. And I'll speak a little bit to that in a second. In order to maintain our Sustainable Maryland designation, that is then its own separate thing. And maybe the proper term for green team is just limited to that. I appreciated the appendices, by the way. The very last one, H, had some very useful language where there was things like, if there is any uncertainty about the committee's authority, generally or with respect to a specific situation, the question should be referred to the respective mayor and council liaison before the committee takes action. If in doubt, the liaison is expected to seek full mayor and council guidance before recommending action, which, that was 20 years ago. So I'm not saying we have to use that same language. I'm just saying you included it. But then in trying to make sure I reference it properly. It's long, so it says, what are the GIC's recommendations for the mayor and council? On the right, it says page 18. On the left, it says 55. It says things like the Green Infrastructure Committee's second bullet point may, at its own discretion, accept requests from the mayor and town council for informed, well-researched advice. And let me first say, I trust that you provide well-researched advice. But the qualification, at its own discretion, is what made me think of what Mayor Watson said, that we need to have a body that we can say, we need this. I understand it's a volunteer group, and if no one wants to be part of it, they can all quit. But we need to be able to have what we need, what we request. And so that is a different type of body. So that's, I'm trying to figure out how we resolve that.
All right. Okay.
Actually, Councilmember Tansey, I'd like to start with your last point. The last point in that designation of may is that invites conversation, because there are times where the green infrastructure has been approached for a matter that most accurately lies with the planning board, for example. So as far as those words, when we're talking about the relationship between the Green Infrastructure Committee and mayor and council, that relationship has functioned. It is not a matter of, and we're talking about green team for SMC, it is the appointment of the body, any organization. It does not mean to be an appointment of A, B, and C within that organization. So it's perfectly reasonable for a volunteer-led organization such as the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee to function as a Sustainable Maryland certified. When we're talking about adding structure, the planning board and the root of the planning board was for a different purpose than the Green Infrastructure Committee and many other organizations. And one of the reasons behind that appointment was because the town wanted to be very clear that there were not people with very vested interests, such as developers or realtors, present on that body. That is not the same consideration that has been at play historically from day one with the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee, and that is easily protected within any memorandum of understanding developed between the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee and mayor and council. So the whole thing that we're bringing to you is there is a way to thread this needle that does not disabuse the entire community of the opportunity to have a volunteer-led, community-based organization that works with the town when the town needs recommendations and advisement, and at the same time is able to do the community functions that are also part of our mission and vision in fulfillment of the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Plan. And I'm sorry, Sheila,
Joyce.
And then Joyce.
I'm not as articulate as my colleagues here. I'll try.
That's why she's here.
One of the reasons I came to the GIC is because I was confused about some of these issues we've all been talking about. And that's one of the reasons why we're here tonight, is to try to clear up some of these things. And when you say there has not been a GIC for 18 months, I'm very confused by that because we have never stopped meeting, hosting meetings, publishing agendas, having open meetings, publishing minutes, at the request, bringing everything into the 21st century or whatever, going to videotaping. The only main concern with that is, as you can see, when we have a lot of experts, some of whom come from state, county, national, whatever, they're not always willing to be videotaped because they might giving us some little cutting edge information that's not publicly available. So that was the only reason why that was an issue. And I might add, if you look at, I don't know, appendix, whatever it is, B, the very bottom.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you say it hasn't existed.
Well, just clear, I didn't say that.
No, I'm just saying what I'm hearing, and maybe, again, it's me, but the bulk of what our town attorney sent to the town of Bladensburg when they attempted the annexation, was about 99% of information research that the GIC created and presented without being asked, without being cajoled or bullied or anything, but we said, we're here to help. Extensive information about, what was incorporated, what wasn't incorporated, where Bladensburg met Cheverly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to say the GIC hasn't existed for 18 months, I find that very strange.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. I would say that
Well, it was said, so I'm just saying.
Well, what I tried to say was that, of course, yes, the GIC has been working and contributing, and never stopped doing that. But I don't think it's a newsflash to anybody that, the GIC has not been in relation with the town for the last 18 months, the corporation, right? And that's part of what we're trying. Does anybody disagree with that?
Yes.
I thought that the town...
I would say that there have been some privileges that the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee has enjoyed in the past that were removed. As far as our conduct and our working with the town, we have continued to work with the town. We have continued to be called upon by the town for different needs, and we have stood here and not only ready to serve, but we have served.
Yeah.
So I think that what we're looking for, and the reason we're here this evening, is to find a way to move that forward so that the town is ready to acknowledge that this independent, volunteer-led community body is no different than the body that has continued to serve, and we are looking for opportunities to do so that retain our independence, that do not require that a certain number of people be appointed, because our committee ranges large because individuals come forward according to the need of the subject at hand.
Yeah, no, I think we're all pursuing the same objective. I think the only issue I would have, well, it's not an only. What I would say about consultative status is that if that would be, in order to create that, the mayor and council would need to revisit the document that we approved last year unanimously. I'm up for whatever, wherever you guys want to ride, I'll ride. But we do have a document that we adopted last year that basically has A and B, and maybe it's not creative, maybe it's not sufficient, but we created two categories, and neither of those is consultative status. If you guys want to reopen that, let's, I'm fine with that. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying that's what that would require. We cannot simply we can't pretend that doesn't exist and just create something different on, out of whole cloth, right? We can amend that and create a third category.
Yeah.
But that would be the only way to get to that destination.
And
Did you have a comment? Or go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just want to understand your position, though I understand the committee might not have an official position, but do you think the Green Infrastructure Committee needs to serve as the type of body we're describing? You can still be a wholly independent group, in my understanding of Maryland's sustainability designation. You could still be the green team appointed by the town and be totally independent and produce 100% of the same things. But then we could also have a body that fits within the advisory committee rules and guidelines that serves in a narrower capacity, that produces what we ask it to produce and makes recommendations that they think are aligned with the priorities that the town mayor and council have set forth.
My first comment on that would be volunteer-based organizations in town are already struggling. And one of the reasons, and this is speaking for myself, one of the reasons those organizations are struggling is because there are so many layers of what you must do and how you must do it that are not collaborative, but instead have been in a situation where people look at, I'm not sure I'm going to serve. Yeah. Now, the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee, through proverbial HEW hockey stick in high water has continued to serve. There's also another thing involved in this. When you're talking about appointment of discrete members for a specific term, you are losing the opportunity to draw upon the history, and you have a dilution of the work that is brought out of this body and the research that is brought out of this body, and you are creating yet another need for meeting and collaboration that is not actually moving community forward or working with other communities, but is only for the sake of form. While consultative status, I don't understand why I ask the council to step out of being curtailed by a document that you created at the end of last year. Here you have an opportunity for something that is progressive rather than regressive. Here you have the opportunity for something that centers the knowledge and investment of community and invites community in rather than is a top-down, under-the-thumb control. That is not what's needed in this world, and that's what the Economic and Social Council have understood, and they benefit from 6,000 organizations. And this mayor and council have worked with other bodies that are not formal bodies. The only formal body in here is the planning board. You have worked with many bodies that we don't even need to go through a name on major projects and collaborations. And for us to be able to continue to offer recommendations and do research, there is nothing in the way of mayor and council other than mayor and council. And I don't say that to be rude. I say that to be freeing. You have the opportunity to create something here that addresses what has not been an issue from 2011 until most recently, but we've found a way to address that within a structure. Thank you.
Julia Mosley, Ward 2. I'm going to try to be brief and talk about a little bit of history, which Layla touched on, but also I'm a relatively new member of GIC and heard some of the things about needed to be for sustainable Maryland. There was, we were not going to be part of that, which was just totally incorrect. It is totally incorrect. GIC brought Cheverly into sustainable Maryland. You are not required to have an appointed committee. I was on council. I think I was mayor. I may not have been, but I was on council when we created the planning board. And it was one of our first forays, the town's foray into creating a committee. And we were, quite frankly, very worried that that committee, which we needed as strong recommendations to the mayor and council, because limited time, we know you have limited time, that committee could be hijacked by developers, realtors. There was a lot of interest on that. I want to make it absolutely clear I'm not talking about any realtors or developers currently. None of them, I've been around a long time, none of them are still working. It worked wonderfully. We had Hugh Guest, we had Cynthia Fenton. It was a great body, which recently, not unlike perhaps some of what our committee feels, but the planning board is down to 4 members. Why is that? It's now getting more, but I think you have to ask, what do volunteers in town, do they feel valued? Do they feel listened to? Are we important? And I was still on council when the planning board was working so well, and the green infrastructure plan was taking hold, and it became clear to us that the interest in a green committee would be far broader than that of the planning board, where we wanted planners, we wanted that sort of thing. And the Green Infrastructure Committee is incredibly broad, 40 members. Are you telling 40 members to just go away? I would also maintain, and I think one of our liaisons to the Green Infrastructure Committee is sitting here tonight. At no point did any of the previous liaisons say they were not getting the information the mayor and council requested. You request, we give it to you. It's independent. If we tell you there is some protection for the mayor and council, if we, for example, tell you our recommendation is that you do not allow a building on this site because it may cause flooding. You can ignore that, you can accept it. Should you ignore it and there's flooding and there's damage on surrounding towns, as we would have said there was, you're protected to some degree. We're not an appointed committee. We can give you unbiased advice based on extensive research and expertise, professionalism. And what I don't understand is how this worked for so many years until 18 months ago. And I have my opinion. I don't want to say that tonight, but, I'd like to go back to a robust committee that responds immediately to the town's needs, brings things to you. The open, in the last 18 months, many of those open cases, information was given to the town. We don't know what's happened. So, again, I think it's very important to maintain the structure we have now. We're giving you our suggestion as to how we can move forward. We're open to further discussion. We know this is not up for a vote tonight. It's certainly a good opening step. I know Vince Ford is here, former member, council member Vince Ford was here. He was here back in the day with Hugh Guest and others, and the beginnings of the Green Team. The Green Team actually was working before it was officially a resolution. It was working.
Mr. Price's wife was part of the...
Yes.
So I want to go, thank you for that. So,
okay, thank you.
Mr. Price is going to be first up when we go to the residents, but I want to go to Vice Mayor Briner now, and then check back with the council before we go to Mr. Price as the first resident. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to touch on something because I know what has been said is that we're not sure what happened 18 months, 2 years ago to change this relationship. And I think what happened is that we had a great relationship, and then all of a sudden the mayor was making requests of the Green Infrastructure Committee, and they were not being responded to. I think you say you request, we give it to you, but there were requests that the mayor at the time was making that were unheard. I don't want to relitigate all of that, but I think we all know that the reason that we created more guidelines around what is an advisory committee and what is a town organization was to address that issue and that concern. I don't think that the advisory committee policy is that onerous. I think actually there would need to be just a few changes to the Green Infrastructure Committee in order for them to work with that document. I think even what we're seeing tonight, where the mayor says, here is what I think and here's what I'd like to see, and the respondents say, well, actually, no, that's not what you want. Actually, you want this other thing. That's not what you're saying. There's different definitions of the words you're using. Like, I am not seeing any willingness to concede on any of this, and that is my concern, and I just did not want to not say that.
Thank you, Councilmember Briner. You make reference to the previous mayor bringing requests to the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee. I think it's important to note that the only request that was brought to the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee that the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee did not fulfill was something that was run by the Cheverly Planning Board. The Green Infrastructure Committee had not participated in the previous rendition of that effort, and in fact, even more than the Planning Board, there was an individual resident who was a business owner who took that in hand. And there seemed to be a breakdown of communication, and I was privy to some of that, where it was the idea that the Green Infrastructure Committee needed to deliver on something that the Green Infrastructure Committee was not able to deliver on. And so one of these things that we do need to work on regardless is how communication happens. And that means that if there is a disagreement, that for all committees' sakes, what's not included in the document that you put together last year is how, before anything happens that's punitive, that there's the opportunity for community organizations to sit down with their liaison, with mayor and council, with town staff, to work through these things in a collaborative manner. So with that, I couldn't let that go unaddressed because that is the situation. And we have, for all of our years, copied the mayor, the town administrator, and other staff members as the situation warranted. And we continue to do so, and we would continue to do so, absolutely.
Okay, council, anyone else on council? Anybody else that's not David Tanzi? Go ahead. And then we'll go
It's
back
not
to
David. So this particular concern kind of started before I got, I know it was 18 months, but it was before that. The main thing that I said was the fact, number one, I truly understand the value of the green infrastructure. We just recently partnered with the Ward 2 Block Party, of course with my community days as well. So clearly I understand the importance of the organization. The main thing I said was that making sure that there's compromise on both sides, because I wholeheartedly believe, speaking for myself, that all parties want to come together because we care about Cheverly and want what's best for Cheverly. And I can maybe speak for the council and understand the asset that you all bring to the table as a whole, as you clearly have laid out here. And we appreciate that. So I hope that going forward, no matter what we decide, that we all have a full open understanding. I do understand the aspect of not, maybe, I know you use the word, Layla, as ruling from top down. I don't believe in that management, but I do believe in making sure that the town has a full control of what goes on regarding that. Again, I've heard other things that happen. Again, I don't know, but just to make sure, it is my responsibility sitting in this seat to make sure that whoever we partner with, whoever we work with, that there is a level of structure, control that things, and again, we heard here say that things were not provided. Again, I don't know that as being the case. We heard both sides saying that was the case. But going forward, we would need to make sure that we do have things in place that would prevent that from not occurring in the future. So again, I guess we looks like we're going to revisit this again after 18 months. And just to support the mayor in the fact that I don't think he was saying that you weren't involved. Clearly you were involved, but the relationship of that was fractured. We actually hired an outside mediator, so it was not a case where we were not in full agreement. We both were still working for the town, but we were not working in full partnership is ultimately what I want, in this particular matter. So as we go forward, that we make sure that that's in mind. Councilmember Tanzi mentioned two different, one that's part of the time, one outside. If you all want to say independent, I don't know if that's the right answer or not, but we do as a town, because I represent as a elected official for the town, that we have to make sure that we do have things that are in place that where we have control over decision-making process, things being made, going from there. But I yield back from there.
Councilmember Tanzi and then Councilmember Legloahec. Well, unless did you want to go? Oh, all right. Councilmember Legloahec and then Councilmember Tanzi, and then we will take statements of no more than 2 minutes from members of the audience.
Well, I just wanted to thank the members of the GIC for this great and extremely well-researched presentation. So speaking as one of the two newest council members, Councilmember Tanzi and myself, I read through it with great interest in many different versions. I firmly believe that this body belongs in Cheverly and that they clearly have put a lot of thought into what it should look like, and they brought those recommendations to us this evening, and I thank them for those recommendations. As former Mayor Riazi noted, the mayor and council has the power to mold a document that best fits the goals and objectives for both the town and the GIC. So the power is in our hands, and you have made those recommendations to us. I also want to comment on something that former Mayor Riazi said about volunteer organizations struggling in town. Yet here we have a group here that, by their own admission, has 40 members in it, and they clearly are working for the best interests of Cheverly and have been for many years and will continue to do so in whatever role that they work with the town. And I look forward to that relationship continuing with the town based on the recommendations that they brought us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, John. May I say something, just as a resident? I have a suggestion. It is a test. Bring us something. Ask us for a report. I'm sure we'll give it to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So actually, I appreciate that prompt. And let me just say before you walk away, I appreciate your institutional knowledge. And so to former Mayor Riazi's point, that there is something there that is not the same as a rotating leadership. So I recognize that, and I want to say that I value it. I think, though, the test is not let us ask you for something and have you provide it. I think the test is we have one interest and you have another. Which will you serve? So if we have Hospital Hill wants to do something and we're moving forward with it, is that something you're going to then fight against? Is it something you're going to take to the press?
That's not the way it works. The way it works is you will look into it, write a recommendation. Remember, it's a recommendation. Yep. If you say, no, we prefer to look at it a different way, then you ignore the recommendation, or you say, I'll take this piece of it and not that piece of it.
All right, we're going to let Councilmember Tanzi finish his statement.
Yeah, I appreciate that that point. The reason I say that is I'm also one of the newer members, so I don't have any detailed knowledge about what happened 18 months or however many months it was ago. My understanding through hearsay was that it was actually about the points that I underlined on page 19, the first 4 or 5 bullet points in your requests are all about the town not placing any obstacles on your outreach to whatever party you think you need to reach out to, and that the final one that I underlined was all communications with the sources above indicated remain internal to the committee unless the committee deems otherwise desirable. So I understand the desire to be independent, but that's, to Councilmember Wade's point, the kind of stuff that makes me go, how do we know that we're working towards the same aim if I don't know who you're talking to and what about? And my, again, hearsay, or grapevine, is my understanding was whatever developer was being spoken to was hearing different things from you guys and us.
It's supposed to be that way.
Yes.
It is supposed to be that way.
So that's what, so I hope you appreciate the protect, and one of the, I've underlined so many things now, was like serve and protect the town or something like that. like, that's part of the protection, is like, we need to know that we're not going to have a bridge burn.
Sheila,
And
please
so
allow me to
that's
explain.
the tension, and I think Vice Mayor Briner spoke to this some, that there needs to be a mutually agreed upon understanding about how this relationship works, and then methods to make sure that that is productive.
So, Councilmember Tanzi, that is something to work out in an MOU. And what you're reading there in this, there are different needs from the town versus from a body that's doing research and investigation. So the town may have a position that, in fact, let's take the pedestrian path through Kilmer Street Park and Arboretum. You know, the town or the mayor at the time or the town administrator at the time could have had a perspective of, we're not going to talk about that from a town perspective. This independent research body doesn't take a position on that path, but makes sure that everything is known about that there is an opportunity, and an opportunity exists for that path. So, and then if it is something that is under, that you can't talk with this office to find this out, you can't talk with that office to find out, you can't talk with residents to find out and look at this piece of information, then the information is actually being unduly skewed or potentially controlled or affected by the body. That's why there are independent advisory bodies. And in this case, that's where, when we're talking about ECOSOC, where the consultative status acknowledges that they have specific knowledge, they're bringing that to this body. This body then knows that they've asked all the questions that they can possibly ask, and they're not saying that if you go for this, you are condemned. They are saying, based on our knowledge, these are the things that will be affected. And then you get the opportunity to make a decision. And that's
Okay,
incredibly
all right.
important.
We got to
Thank you.
stop. Okay, it's 9:27, and we are going to quickly wrap this item up. So, not hearing anything else from the council at this time, you can go ahead and raise your hands if you'd like to. Mr. Price, you have the first 2-minute speech. Anyone else who would like to queue up for the microphone? What? Oh. Well, you can sit there. Yeah, come on up to the microphone.
I think he wants to sit here.
Oh, they're very nice people. What's that?
Folks been talking about former, so I'm gonna be former council member.
Is your mic on?
1, 2,
Go ahead.
3. Folks been talking about former, so I'm gonna be is it on?
Fred Price Jr., Ward 4.
Fred Price Jr., former council member. This is my baby. We actually started as a tree city before they got here, okay? My wife was part of the formation of this. This problem started, we didn't have this problem all up to the administration of Mayor Mike, because he had the skill to touch base and keep these people together. When Layla became mayor, her first words was out, new rules. And we went from new rules then over to another administration. And there became a clash between these two administrations. And 18 months ago, we came up and shut this thing down. We had the election. You run on supporting the other candidate run whatever their position was. The election settled this. It is not the responsibility, I believe, of this council to go over this again. You need to move forward. You know what the problems are and deal with it that needs to be done. But I commend you on that. When was the last election? How long ago?
4 months.
4 months ago. And you've already cleared it out and have a discussion The last two items on this thing, it says community recommend, page 19, the last two items. The committee recommends establishment of a process, and the committee recommends acknowledgement of harm done to others. I don't think this body has done any harm. If there's any harm that's been done, it's not by this body. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And good night.
And good night. Be careful out there. Your name and ward, sir.
Daniel Daughtry-Weiss, and one of our ward.
Is your mic on?
We have to move closer to.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, Daniel Daughtry-Weiss, ward. What am I?
Your ward
3, 4. Thank you. I just wanted to say that my experience of being involved with the Green Infrastructure Committee, just very impressed with how seriously this group under Sheila's leadership and under Sheila's leadership takes fact-finding and really is not looking, does not take advocacy from the standpoint of many of us think of advocacy, right? Taking a position, all of those things. There are members of the committee who are, involved politically, but that's not the GIC. Those are individuals that may, advocate something or the other. But the committee is very careful about sticking with. They're cognizant of the issues that there are competing interests, that science isn't, doesn't provide, answer policies, but it provides information that then can inform policy. So I just wanted to provide that experience.
Thank you, sir. That's helpful. Oh.
Good, the mic is
Like
on.
in the chat?
Beth L'Italian, Ward 3, I remembered.
Yes, correct.
Woohoo! All right, so most of you know me by now and know that my thing is accessibility. Usually by that I mean people with disabilities. However, I was sitting through this conversation and it occurred to me that if you were new to this concept, you probably fell asleep, and so it's probably too late now for this particular one, but I haven't heard a definition of green infrastructure. And I'm thinking, if I'm in the audience, I'm wondering if you mean, I don't know, solar panels on my roof, LEED certification, and this isn't just for this conversation, but I think generally, if we want to include more people in community, more people to show up to these meetings, if we can be paying attention to making those definitions, and that's all. And thank you, and I'm sorry to do that publicly to you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, actually, that's always been a point of agreement, I think, is what the purpose of the plan was and the implementation. But good point. Yeah, it is a bit of an esoteric topic. Let's now turn to an online hand raised from Sophia Riazi-Sikowski. Are you able to speak?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi there. I'm coming to you from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, where I'm studying a PhD program in marine chemistry. And so I am very glad the Zoom option is available to be able to stay in touch with my community. I would like to say that when it comes to the Green Infrastructure Committee, what I have seen as being successful growing up has been the ability for this community, volunteer-based, expertise-based organization to advise the town and advise residents without being under the control of any one town agenda, because that allows for this independent review, this critical analysis of the community at any given time, regardless of political stance, regardless of shifts in administration. And this is a type of checks and balances that are so important in our democracy today, and that democracy extends down towards this local level. We as a community have the power to bring the collaboration, cooperation, and listening skills that a lot of times we seem to be lacking more and more today. And we have the power to put that into place. And I think that the Green Infrastructure Committee has, for years, been instrumental in bringing that ethic to the town, while also bringing awareness and resources to help with the health of our community members and the capacity building for sustainability in our community, and making us like one of the leaders in the state. And I think that's amazing, and I think that going forward, the town should continue to appreciate that, because that's something that not everybody has. And we're very lucky to have that. So I would like to thank my elders and my community members who have been part of this for a long time, and I hope that you will consider this as something lucky for you to have. Thank you.
All right, let me turn my own speaker down. Thank you for those comments. I don't see anyone else online, and no one else is queued up here in the gym. If you do want continue, if anyone wants to make comments of 2 minutes or less, please make your way now to the microphone. I will simply say, moving forward, we're going to have to do something. I mean, I hate to say obvious, hate to say the sky's blue, but I don't think that we can like pretend that the 2011 resolution is like still 100% in place and nothing happened and we don't need to do anything. If you disagree, let me know, Council, but it seems to me we need to do something. We have a couple options. We could adopt something like the draft resolution that's in the appendix. In my opinion, that would require us going back to the organization's document and creating a third category. We could create some other resolution that created some currently non-existent body, some new body that was a green whatever, modeled after the planning board. We could try some kind of hybrid that somehow designated the officers of the GIC who are internally chosen by the GIC as some sort of executive team that had some sort of official town designation. We could simply vote to reaffirm the 2011 resolution. That's probably the least amount of work. But I think at least that minimal level of work needs to be done. That's my view of it. If there are no council comments, I think we probably should form some kind of work group to work on this and get something done and in front of the council and voted on by the winter, so that we don't continue to not have a designation and continue to have the GIC doing all this work on the side and providing the information, but in a clouded or just unclear relationship to the town. Are there any other comments, disputes, corrections from council?
Mayor Watson, I would like to request that committee members be part of this working group.
Does anyone hate the work group idea? I mean, otherwise I'm going to do it by myself, and it's going to be whatever uncreative idea I have. Vice Mayor, your hand is up.
I think we need to be clear about what is the distinction between this work group and the year plus that we spent trying to do mediation that did not result in anything fruitful. So how will this be different? We tried to do smaller working groups as part of that process.
Yeah.
It feels like we are getting into a cycle where we're just going to keep doing this over and over again and not come to any resolution is my concern.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think that's a valid concern, and I think we need to have a resolution. I think maybe literally and figuratively. I think it is not mediation. It is a work group, not dissimilar to the policies group that I think maybe you're not the chair, Vice Mayor, but the Vice Mayor is the ringleader of. It would, in my mind, include some GIC members, but we are not going to talk in circles. We're going to get something down on paper that the council votes on, even if, as I say, it is, hey, we still believe in 2011. Okay, but it's going to be something, maybe that's just even a motion, but we're going to vote on something and then that's going to be the end of this adventure. And I would like to do that by the winter. I know that doesn't answer all your questions, but that's where my head is. I'm happy to participate or not participate. And again, I would invite, a non-quorum composition of the council to join this effort. So I can take the lead to be back in touch on that and pull this together. Council, any final comments? Sir, did you have a comment as a council member?
Councilmember Garces has his hand raised.
Oh, sorry, I can't see you. Mr. Garces, please.
Yeah, I would like to also be part of this group, and just with the solely purpose of not going in circles, because this is.
All right, we are going to add Councilmember Garces to this work group. I don't see him online, and it might be my fault, so please rejoin if you're able. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I got bumped out of
it might be me. I apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that I would like to be part of this work group with the solely purpose of not going in circles, because no disrespect to no one, but this is getting very old very quick. A resolution does need to come up. I believe sooner than later, so I would like to be part of this work group as well.
I am writing your name down. Thank you for volunteering. Councilmember Tanzi.
Please get my name on the list as well, though I understand there are a limited number of slots. The only real thing I would add now is I want to make sure that in the end we resolve this issue with the Green Infrastructure Committee, but the beginning is a broader conversation about what the town needs. Right. And then we solve that problem with a clear understanding of what the role of the Green Infrastructure Committee is.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I'll just end this item back where I started, which is that there is some kind of special sauce that we don't want to disturb. That's the word. There's some kind of special sauce here that's not common in town, unfortunately, and we don't want to pollute that.
Can I make one final comment, please?
You can make a 60-second comment.
All I wanted to say was just thank you, everyone, for your time. I want to recognize that there's some hard feelings, and what I think is different now is we don't want to go in circles. Let's be positive and say we're moving forward, and we're going to figure this out. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Under 60 seconds, too.
Yeah, no, you blew it away. All right.
Mayor and council, thank you. I know I spoke for a long time this evening, and I really appreciate watching those of you who were really listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you're looking for another.
Oh, man. All right. Now I got to learn all your names. All right, we're going to move on to item 7, which is the planning board recommendations for questions that the planning board had asked that the town transmit to Home Team 5. Mr. Tanzi, do you want to lead on this?
Yeah, and I'll keep it brief because it's a long meeting. So we had a whole bunch of planning board meetings talking about what we want to know about Hospital Hill and what sort of information we need to solicit directly. I shared that document, I believe, on September 10th. It's pretty substantial, and it's probably longer than what at least I would recommend we send to the Hospital Hill team or Cheverly Hill team, because I worry that we'll start getting cut and paste answers or generic answers. So I would ask that council members take a look at that document, and we try to highlight which parts we think we really don't know, and that won't be resolved through the regular process of going through permitting and things like that, and we can get that information elsewhere, and what do we really need to get from the developers. So I don't think we need to spend time right now going over those question by question, but I hope that in a future work session we can say, hey, let's do this before we show up, and try to come out saying here are 10 or 15 or whatever we consider a reasonable number of questions to submit to the Cheverly Hill team.
Yeah, and I don't, great. Okay, so I'll try, if council members have comments about this, please raise your hands. Could I ask maybe Vice Mayor Briner and Councilmember Tanzi to work on this, and the rest of us will get you any comments we have, I don't know, by Monday? And then, Mr. Galloway, if you can work with the two of them to get something to Home Team 5?
Sure.
If you need me to sign it, I'm happy to sign it.
Okay.
But, is that okay? All right. I see there are some comments about this. Yes, 2 minutes. Come up to the mic. All right. See if you can beat the previous record of 37 seconds.
Sorry. Ward 2, Julia Mosley. I'd just like to remind Councilmember Tanzi and the council that Green Infrastructure was invited by the planning board to participate, and we provided a great deal of information and recommendations which were incorporated, I believe, in what you have. Again, that's what we do. So, and I also want to say that the GIC does not feel that we've just laid something out and that's it. We look forward to a collaborative relationship, and we thank you very much for your time on a very long night. So thank you.
All right, hearing nothing else from the council, we will consider item 7 concluded. Let's move to item 8, Youth Town Council nominations. Is this Ms. White?
Yeah, I'll take it from here.
Okay.
Ms. White will be joining me to my right. Mayor and council, Ms. White emailed each and every one of you nominations are, well, recommendations that you could choose to nominate for the youth committee. Tonight, we're asking you to make those nominations so that we can go ahead and move forward with voting and the Youth Town Council can be formed. So if we can start with council member from Wards 1 and work our way down to 6, so that we can go ahead and have some type of a youth committee so that we can begin meeting. The first youth committee town meeting will be on Thursday, October the 2nd. So it's imperative that we go ahead and get these nominations. And I will say that Ms. White has done a phenomenal job with getting this together, being organized, but also one of her strengths is preparing today's students for tomorrow's leaders. And what better way to prepare them than getting them involved in your local government. So without further ado, Councilmember Wade, I think we'll start with you, and Mayor, if we can work our way up to Ward 6.
Yes, I had the opportunity to review two request applications, and one was from the current Ms. Sophia Richards, who's now a senior at Elizabeth Seton High School, and the other one is Stephen Albert. He's an 11th grader at Eleanor Roosevelt High School. And to be fair, to allow someone another opportunity to join the youth council, I have selected Mr. Albert to take that. Just a little bit about his interests: sports and recreation, education, STEM activities, politics, and government. He's interested in joining because of helping out his community. He's an Eagle Scout in the Cheverly Troop 257, and he volunteers for Cheverly Village as well. So first, I'd like to thank Ms. Richards for her amazing work she did, and look forward to Mr. Albert joining the Youth Council as well. I yield back.
Thank you, and I just want to say congratulations to Stephen Albert. We're excited to have you on the Youth Council.
Mr. Legloahec.
Thank you. So for Ward 2, we had one nomination. We had Aiden Parks, who is, he's actually a freshman in high school, but he was the only Ward 2 applicant, and the Youth Council has made an exception to accept him onto the Youth Council. So he's been an active member of the Cheverly Youth Program and the Boys and Girls Club, and has been with sports and basketball-oriented events and the open gyms. So I will look forward to seeing him shadow the Ward 2 Youth Council, and I look forward to his work on the Youth Council.
Thank you, and congratulations to Aiden Parks.
Nice. Vice Mayor Briner.
Good evening. I would like to nominate from Ward 3 Ms. Caitlin Rowe. She is a senior at Duval High School and has already demonstrated all sorts of leadership experience and interest. She's also been involved with the town of Cheverly through the Summer Youth Employment Program, so she's not a stranger, but I think this new role is a great next step for her.
Thank you, and congratulations to Caitlin Rowe.
Councilmember Tansey.
I had two applicants, both impressive youth. I do want to recommend Violet Stallings, who is a senior at Roosevelt, has very varied interests, but I was especially taken by their desire to help plan youth activities and promote youth activities in social media. And since that has been one of the town's priorities, I thought it'd be great to have someone whose interests so clearly aligned with that.
Thank you, and congratulations to Violet Stallings.
I think this takes us to Councilmember Fry. Does he have one? Councilmember Garces, do you have a nominee?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
I nominate Mario Ruiz Melgar. He was a past youth town council member. He's a member of Vine Corps. He's involved in the community. He's an involved community member, a constant attendee and volunteer at Cheverly youth events. He is in grade 12 and goes to, I believe, Don Bosco Cristo Rey, and he is a resident of Ward 5, an awesome kid, and he's super cool, and he definitely deserves this nomination.
Thank you, and congratulations to Mario Ruiz Melgar.
I actually don't have a nominee tonight. As you all know, I was out of the country for several weeks, so I appreciate the extension for that, and I do have several people in mind that I will be probing as well for that. I did have a question, though. We also needed advisors.
That's correct.
So we need advisors and, okay, so are we still calling out for advisors?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
so then, and are we still trying to get an advisor from every ward, or?
There is 2 youth advisor positions on the
just
Youth
2.
Council.
Okay.
They can be ages 18 to 22, and they can be from any ward in Cheverly.
Perfect, okay. So expect that from me early next week.
Thank you so much. And just to repeat what Councilmember Fry said, applications are still open if you live in Ward 6 and you are in any grade in high school, or if you are ages 18, 19, 20, 21, or 22, and you're living in Cheverly in any ward. We would love for you to join and be a youth advisor. And we will send out a notification with all of the new council members as well as the positions that are still open. Thank you all, and I really appreciate you all considering these nominations.
Yes, Councilmember Fry.
Are they going to be sworn in at the October 9th meeting? Okay.
Yes, they will be.
Does anyone have an objection to me nominating or granting an exception to nominate an advisor who's not yet 18? Council members, what do you? Okay, well then I'd like to nominate Sophia Richards to be an advisor, given that I think she's 17 and a half, if I counted right.
That is wonderful. I definitely welcome that nomination, as she's been a past town council member too, so I think she could provide adequate leadership absolutely for the youth council. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
And she's from Ward 1 too, so it makes it great.
I overlooked that aspect of the nomination, yes. Is there a motion from council to approve the recommendations of Albert, Parks, Rowe, Stallings, and Melgar to the Youth Town Council and Richards as a Youth Town Council advisor?
I'll make a motion.
So motion by Councilmember Fry. Is there a second?
Second.
I think I got to give that one to Wade. Seconded by Councilmember Wade. Is there any discussion?
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 town council members and 1 advisor. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes 6-0. Congratulations. And thank you, Ms. White, for your continued work on this important endeavor.
Thank you all. Congratulations to our new members. I'm very excited for what this season of the Youth Council holds.
Great. And that's probably going to be the zenith of the meeting, because we are now on to 8B, which is the Keller construction update. Would you or Mr. Cardenas like to start this?
Yeah, I will. I'll go ahead and invite the representatives from Keller Construction and Mayor and Council, just to let you all know, we've also hired CPJ to assist with this project, to be somewhat of a project manager throughout the duration of this project. Kelly tonight is going to give you somewhat of a timeline of, where we are right now, how we got here to where we are, and what their plan is on moving forward. And I'll be as brief and turn it over to Kelly.
Please introduce yourselves and go ahead. Your green light needs to be on.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Kelly Wallace. I'm the COO of Keller Construction. And I'm here to give you a briefing, I guess, on the project.
Good evening, Robin Barnhart with Charles P. Johnson Associates. We're here to act on behalf of the town as the town engineer to help oversee the project.
And thank you for joining us for the WSSC walk in your other hat as the engineer. Go ahead with the presentation then.
Okay, we are closing in on the finish line. We've got a lot of work done in the last month, and I would say an incredible amount of work done in the last couple weeks. As I told the group earlier today, we are a day or two away from a written plan for finishing, and then that'll be presented to the team. It's not fully baked yet, but we are dangerously close to having an answer to the question when. Inside the building, call it the architectural finishes, are for the most part finished. There's a few odds and ends here that are getting cleaned up and touched up. I would say the major piece of work is about a week's worth of work Second floor, there was a wood ceiling, part of a dais section. That's about the biggest piece of architectural that we've got. A lot of punch lists going on, which is just leftover stuff at the end, touch-up paint, tightening doors, that sort of thing. So that's happening all over. A lot of outside work was done in the last week or two, including sod. Makes it look a lot more finished when you cover the dirt with grass. We just recently got permission to take the silt fence down in a big component of the project, which again helps make the outside look a little better. As far as testing and so forth, we are probably a couple of weeks away from getting water to a point where now we can finish the major components to the building and start putting all the pieces together, which is really the key to starting our finals. And the finals are plumbing, electrical, fire protection, and building. They're all related to each other in a certain sequence. For instance, elevator needs fire alarm for its test because fire alarm has a recall function. And so when the fire alarm trips, the elevator comes down and everything is shut off. So there's some integration and some coordination that occurs once everybody's ready and the plumber needs water to be ready. We are days away, if not a couple of days away, from getting permission from WSSC to actually connect the water line. I would say next week you'll see some action on getting approvals from WSSC. So we've gone back and forth with two comment sections with WSSC, and this last one was fairly minor, so we think it's going to pass pretty quickly. That's kind of where we are with status.
Okay, is the building secure? I mean, like the envelope is locked?
Yes.
Okay.
And we still have a temporary fence around the property as well that we've got a gate and a lock, and so the pedestrians can't just wander in.
Okay, when can pedestrians walk up to the building? I know it's a little bit of a strange question, but like, when is the fence going away?
The fence goes away when we get permission to occupy the building. That's
So you can't take the
use
fence
and
down
occupancy.
if you don't have a UNO?
Correct.
Okay. And by Friday, wait, tomorrow's Friday. In the next couple of days, you'll know when you're going to get the UNO?
We will have a plan to get the UNO. There's a few inspections agencies, a few review procedures that I can't guarantee. I've put a few days in here and there as I was advised, but it's not many. It's not a big component of the timeline.
If you had to make a guess, I mean, this doesn't sound like it's like a Thursday after next type of UNO. This sounds like a Thanksgiving UNO?
I wouldn't say it's that late. The amount of work is we get the water next week, permission to do the water. We've got 2 to 3 weeks of work to do after bolting things together, mounting equipment, some pre-testing that has to occur, flushing the lines, that sort of thing, some integration that has to happen. So that's physical work after the water. And then it's the series of tests that has to occur after that. And so that whole timeline is somewhere between, call it 2 to 3 months.
Thanksgiving is 2 months away.
Okay, maybe I didn't do the math right.
So that's what, that's why I asked the question, like not because I'm obsessed with turkeys, but like, or is it Thanksgiving? Is it Christmas? It sounds like you're saying like not before Thanksgiving.
Well, I don't know precisely yet. Like we talked about earlier today, I need a day or two more to get a little closer to an actual answer as opposed to a broad guess. And right now, I can only do a broad guess, but in a couple of days, I'll be able to give the team a little more precise answer.
But the broad guess is probably December.
No, it's not that late.
Okay, I'm just going to point out again that December is 9 weeks away. I mean, we can all agree on that, right? Please tell me no one here doesn't believe that December is 9 weeks away. Okay.
I'll have a more precise answer in a couple days.
All right. explain to me how the fence works, because I'm thinking about resident disruptions, right? So Cheverly Day is 8 days away. So I need to understand, okay, Public Works can't move in until we have a UNO. Okay, but like for the public, they can't go in the building, great, okay. But tell me about the site and the entire property over the next 9 weeks, let's say. Like, when does stuff start coming down and stuff start getting back to normal? Like, does it start with the UNO and then you can start taking stuff down? Or that's what I mean, I don't know if it's just you or it's Mr. Cardenas and you, but like, what is the sequence of this 3-year construction project site, like being de-sitified and becoming a normal town thing again?
Sure. The fence,
well, Amy, go ahead. Am I asking the wrong question?
No, I don't think you're asking the wrong question. I think I'm trying to catch up, and I guess I'm confused a little bit, so maybe some clarity. We're waiting for a UNO. What is that contingent upon?
we have to test the building.
Okay.
And before we test the building, we have to finish the work.
Okay, so.
Use and occupancy is what a UNO is. And
Yes.
It's basically all of the departments, primarily building construction and fire department, fire marshal, saying that the building is safe to use for its intended purpose. So if it's an
But
office
there's a
building,
delay in some of the things being installed so that we can't even do any of those testings yet. And those delays are based upon what?
lots of different things.
Okay, could you give me a few examples?
I'm not prepared tonight to go over a 3-year series of delays and
Well, I didn't know that we were 3 years. I thought we were pretty on target.
The mayor mentioned 3 years. I'm just chiming along.
Okay.
However long the project's lasted, there's been a lot of questions, a lot of answers, a lot of issues on both sides of the fence. And we are here today. My mission is to move forward and get the building finished as
Which is great.
quickly as possible.
That's what we contracted you for, so awesome.
Yeah. And so, my focus is right now and going to be in the very near future, finishing the building. That's what I'm focused on. I need to get things organized. I need to get tests done. I need to get work finished. And that's what we're doing.
Okay, and is that contingent upon working with any of the other agencies or departments or utilities or anything like that?
WSSC is probably the last agency that we have to deal with.
Okay.
And we're a couple of days away, I think, from getting permission from them to make the connection to the water line.
Okay.
And that's really the last of the utilities. Gas is done, electric is done.
Was there
WSSC
delays
does
with?
plumbing
Was there delays
water
with?
and sewer.
Okay, was there delays with WSSC in getting that, or was it that the things that needed to be done on your end kind of?
It's a combination of a lot of things. And I can't sit here today and tell you specifics about who's at fault for what.
I'm not asking about who's at fault. I'm trying to figure out what needs to still be done and like where that disconnect is, because if there's any ways that we can assist, we want to.
We're already getting assistance from the team with WSSC for an expedited approach. They already did it the first time. Sometimes these things can take weeks to approve, and they got it done in a day and a half.
Okay.
Which is good. And they've got a commitment to do the same thing when they get a second round of comments back, which we're working on now. We got those 2 days ago, the 23rd.
Okay, and then the next step?
And the next step after that is hopefully they see that these comments were minor enough that we addressed them properly, and we get permission, we get approval to make the connection.
Okay.
And the connection is literally not even as big as this table. It's this short. It's a couple of feet.
And then once the connection happens, then what?
Then we flush the line.
Okay, then you do the testing
And then we
stuff.
then we
and then you bring
do
in
the work that is the connection of all the equipment.
Okay.
And the I call it pieces parts, but it's all the things that you have to wait for the water. There's flow and tamper switches, which is an electrical device, part of the fire alarm system, that bolts onto the pipe, and it measures whether there's water flowing in the pipe. And if water's flowing and it's not supposed to, like in a sprinkler main, that means you've got either a broken head or a fire. So that system trips and sends something to the fire alarm control panel, which then notifies the fire department. So that's part of the integration.
Yeah.
You need water. It sounds silly, but you need water to run the electrical system.
No, that makes sense. So like if everything went smoothly, let's say like you're ready to do the testing, you do the testing, it's all working the way it's supposed to, you don't have to go back and fix something, try to refix it and all that. What is the shortest timeline we could potentially be looking at?
That's what I'm working on to give to the team in a day or two. I can't answer tonight, but I should be able to answer tomorrow or Monday.
Okay. I'm just curious, is this news that we're this far behind?
9 weeks is new to me. I'll get there in a second.
Okay. I'm just trying to catch up. I've been gone, so, just making sure.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's go to Councilmember Wade, and then we'll come back to, go ahead.
Got Mr. Watson, right? Mr.
Wallace.
Wallace, all right, thanks for coming. You're COO, right?
Yes.
COO? Okay, one thing I feel that is there's no sense of full accountability regarding this project. You don't even know how long the project's been going on. You're the COO.
I just got here, literally.
But you're the COO.
Right, for 2 months.
That's you're giving excuses right now. Understand?
I'm just telling you what it is.
The title is the title. The fact that you're sitting here is because the project. So the COO is sitting at a 10 o'clock work session because the project's so far behind. The buck stops at your desk. So I don't feel the aspect of accountability regarding this project being so far delayed. There are no concrete dates, numbers. You're supposed to have a ribbon cutting on Saturday. This was planned out a long time ago. So the buck does stop at your desk, or if you don't know, the president needs to come out here and speak regarding as well. Second aspect is Cheverly is a very small town, and we encompass each other in many ways. So unfortunately, last Saturday, I coached soccer, and we used those fields. And it was horrific. At 8 o'clock in the morning, 4 or 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds are trying to cross over while bulldozers are going back and forth. And there was no logistics or strategic plan for kids to go across into the field. I was there as a dad and as a coach, but also as a council member, where we literally had to there was no safety measures in place, take kids in baby carriages and pick them up, go across. And thank you to our leadership here in the town the fact that to make a path, I asked the individuals that represented you, the project manager, whoever it was, and they had no clue whatsoever. He literally told me, but not knowing I was a council member, that we shouldn't be on a field that we pay our tax dollars to use, because there was no logistics in place. So that's just a small, and it was over about 150 people in that field. And that's just a small microcosm of the fact of how unfortunate and mismanaged this project has been. You all need to revisit and to understand and have a level of accountability when you come to present and have the facts in order. Every single question that was asked here, all I heard was just pushing it back. We went from November now to December. So it feels to me that no research, even in the fact where we are now, you didn't do any research before you came here to provide any answers. The other aspect is just a general question. So we're hiring other agency, I'm sorry, the title.
Charles P. Johnson.
Yes, I've heard of you before, but you hire them to manage them, is that correct?
Correct.
CPJ's been under contract with us for many different things for a long time.
But not for this though, right?
I don't believe, well, you know.
So
I'm going to address that.
Well, the question is the fact that are they covering any of this because of the fact that they have been pushed back? And if, okay, yeah, is that the fact?
This isn't the right forum to talk about change orders.
No, it's the right forum.
It's really not.
All due respect, you owe not only this council, but more importantly, you owe the residents that have used their tax dollars to pay you all to get a project that should have been done a long time ago. So this is the perfect forum to discuss the aspect. And the fact of the matter is, you're not even saying, let me consider that's a valid point or any of the nature. I believe in business, as a small business owner, the buck stops at your desk. No matter if you've been here 2 months. We had a town meeting a while ago. The last manager of the project said, I just got here in January. So it seems like Keller Construction has a mentality of not owning up to, because mistakes do happen, things happen, but owning up to that and saying, how can I resolve that going forward? So as a representative of Ward 1, but just as a representative of this town, this is unacceptable. You all have to make this right, whatever form and fashions that may be. I hope that when we do have another meeting, that either you or whoever else is here is more prepared, because you didn't give any concrete answers, not only to us, but more importantly, the residents of Cheverly as a whole, that we have to have someone else come in to watch over your back to make sure you get the job done. So I hope you take that back to your leadership, back to your people that come in here working, and make sure we get this resolved in a more timely manner. I yield back.
All right, Mr. Galloway, did you want to come in now?
Can I address just a couple of those items? Okay, first off, part of the reason I'm here and assigned to the job is that they realized there was an issue that needed to be fixed, and I'm here to fix it. So it's not a complete ignore. Some of the response to being behind and needing to finish is a very senior level person doing essentially a project manager's job. So we do consider it important, and I am part of the solution moving forward to try to fix the problem and get you into your building.
I'll respond by saying this. Your internal structure on how you get projects done, I'm not getting paid for, so that's your business. All I care about is the output. We hired you to do a project. The project's not getting done well. And again, you're the second representative that's come here, going further up the hierarchy, where I don't feel like the buck has really stops at your desk. And all I hear really is excuses on the fact versus saying, hey, this is the data, this is our projections here, this is what we're going to do to help resolve this, and coming up with ways to compensate us and the residents of Cheverly for the fact of this project not being finished as a whole. That's all, end all, be all. Your reputation is the only thing that you have that matters. And right now, honestly, sir, it is not on point. It looks crazy out there. Again, last 8 o'clock in the morning, you had over 150 kids and the parents out there literally trying to wade through construction. There was no security, there was no path. Our police department had to come down and help out. Saying, oh, these cars don't belong here. You didn't have anything set up. No one knew about this, so as a whole. So understand that my advice to you, if you're coming to a client, the buck stops at the desk. You apologize and say, hey, this is what's happening. Hopefully, going forward, this is what we can do and how we can be compensated for the fact of the matter this is continuing to happen. I yield back.
All right, Vice Mayor, I do see you, but I'm going to turn to Mr. Galloway first, and then I promise I'll come to you.
Kelly, as I told you today, you're not in a position to tell us what we can and can't ask, okay? Don't do that. You have been vague this entire time, and we have been asking for a use and occupancy schedule for only the past 8 months. We have been asking for that schedule for the past 8 months. We were supposed to have an open house in May, and that didn't happen. We're having an open house this Saturday. And let me remind everyone, the fence will not be down for Cheverly Day. So Cheverly Day Committee, take note. We will not have an elevator for Saturday. So now, if someone that comes there with, that's handicapped, and if we have to have the ceremony inside, how are we going to do that? How can we be accommodating to everyone else? Oh, well, now all of a sudden, the town has to invest in alternative solutions. We've had to hire a project manager such as CPJ to come in. As I told you today, and I'll tell you again, Mayor and Council, I don't have any faith and confidence in Keller. This is their third project manager. The first time I'm hearing this 9 weeks before we get into UNO is right now with you all. So I want to make that clear. The chief was in the executive meeting with me today, along with Mr. Cardenas. And earlier today, you didn't say anything about 9 weeks, okay?
Well, I wish I hadn't said it tonight either because...
Well, it's done, okay? The utilities should have been the first thing done. And if you all would have done the utilities first, we wouldn't be in this position right now. So I'm not going to get into all the details of this, but I wanted to let you know, for the record, I have no faith and confidence in you or Keller, and I'm ready for this project to be completed. And Mayor, I yield my time back.
All right, the Vice Mayor has been waiting patiently, and then Mr. Cardenas, did you want to come in after? Okay, Nicole, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, because it's been, I think you are the fourth representative from Keller to actually come to one of these meetings, if we're including like the original presentation about the building. And I think each time, instead of the timeline getting shorter, it's gotten longer and longer and longer. Not just in saying, oh, it's going to be an extra month, but then it's, oh, it's actually going to be an extra 2 months on top of that month. And I can't decide which is more embarrassing for us, having a ribbon cutting on September 27th for a building that might not actually be open until December, or having that fence continue to be up for Cheverly Day. I feel like we made it very clear that having that fence down for this Cheverly Day was going to be really important. I feel embarrassed. I feel like I don't know what to say to our residents, particularly about the fence issue. And all of these dates had been, we thought, very secure and based on what Keller was saying, and yeah.
Councilmember Briner, if I can add, we were told that the fence would be down by Cheverly Day, by Keller.
Mr. Cardenas, Acting Public Works Director.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Vice Mayor. I just wanted to add, well, actually, Mr. Galloway and Vice Mayor pretty much said my comments. I just want to say that we promised, because came from Keller, that the fence was going to be down by Cheverly Day. So now I feel in the responsibility that we promised the residents that these fences are going to be down. Now it won't be down. We're looking for solutions to see if we can make a pathway for residents to cross, because, you know, they're going to have to walk all the way around down the hill. So we are looking for solutions to make a pathway for people to walk there. Also that, you know, we've been asking for these UNO for months. And every time we met with them, there's always a new date. The building is going to be open. Mr. Brayman has been asking for this. Every time we ask, there's a new manager, general manager, and every time we go back to them, they say they don't have any information because they knew. So how come they don't have any information when we already had 4 people coming and talking to us every time? Can they go back and get all this information? But they said they don't, because they knew. They need to have a record of what's going on. They make a lot of promise to us. Now they said, oh, I wasn't here, so I can't do this. I can do this. So there's a lot misinformation from them. And at this point, like, we really disappointed because we didn't hear anything about 8 weeks, 9 weeks. That's a lot. And so we just want answers.
All right, well, it is, thank you for that. It is 10:25, so council, we are approaching the 3-hour mark. I would ask you to extend the meeting, whatever your pleasure is.
Motion to extend the meeting by half an hour.
That is a bold first gamble. Briner is all in. Is there a second?
We don't have to use the whole half hour.
I will second.
All right, I'm going to take the second from Councilmember Fry. Is there any discussion of the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes 6-0. The meeting is extended to 11 o'clock. Let us then talk about next steps or solutions or what we can do now. I said the words 9 weeks just because that's December 1st. Thanksgiving's roughly 8 weeks away. I was trying to frame it as far as the fall schedule. Certainly all the fall sports schedule is, out the window as far as being any different than it has been. Cheverly Day's out the window as far as being different than what it is now. But we are a few weeks away, it seems. And so what, Mr. Wallace, can we do now? Or what can the collective group do now to speed this to a conclusion?
Well, if I could backtrack on the 9 weeks thing, it's not going to be Thanksgiving. It'll be before Thanksgiving. So.
All right, that's awesome.
Tomorrow I will have an answer specifically to the question as opposed to a vague or a general answer. And it's the reason why I've been vague or general is because I have spent literally every day, every minute of this week with the team trying to collect the data that needs to be collected from about 37 different sources to actually have a plan. And I think, honestly, one of the things that this job has suffered under is not having a good plan. And that's what I do, is I plan jobs. And so I've spent the week gathering the tools that I need to fix the boat. And so I am this close to being able to answer the question, when is UNO? I'm going to ask for one more day. I asked for it this morning in our owners meeting. I'll present that schedule. It'll have a lot of things that aren't related to UNO in it because it's a comprehensive completion plan. It's not just UNO, but within that will be all the inspections and a certificate of occupancy bullet point or a milestone. In order to expedite, I don't believe at this point, provided WSSC does what they've already done and will most likely do, that's the last administrative hurdle that we have. After that, it's really just the inspection agencies. They're third party, hired and representing the county. And so they're very good usually at response time. I think to date, we've had 24 to 72 hours response time, which to my experience is pretty quick. Some cities and some places can take up to a week to get you an inspection when you call for it. So we do have them on call. We've told them what we're up to. We've given them some preliminary ideas. They've got people waiting and ready. Same thing on the building side of things. In order to expedite, we've got people literally with the part in their truck, and they're on call, on their cell phones, waiting for us to say, we got permission, come on out. So as far as expediting goes, there really isn't anything that can be done that hasn't already been done to get it any faster. I would just cross my fingers and hope. I think Ms. Fry said something about best case scenario, and if there's no issues, that's what I'm really, hoping and praying for, is that we don't have additional problems come up as the final pieces come together or as the inspectors do their work.
Mr. Tanzi.
This, I think, first goes to Robin. I want to know if the statement, the fence goes down when we get the UNO, seems to follow whatever you think the right rules are for this. And then if, this is sort of to everybody, but you can answer it in the general sense, if the fence has to be exactly where it is, until we get the UNO, or if that's the kind of thing we could be saying, hey, we were promised this is going to be gone October 4th. We need to have as much of our park back or whatever as we can get. That's why I said it would be broader, because I don't know, I'm not on the committee of what parts matter to us and what parts don't matter to us. But I'd like to know, is there any flexibility there, or is that fence in some clearly designated X number of feet from the building kind of location?
Sure. So the fence, the metal fence, which is a temporary construction safety fence, which is up here along the side of the driveway going out to Forest Road. So it's doing two purposes. Inside of that, you'll see a black fabric fence, which we call silt fence. The area within there has been disturbed. They have it stabilized where they have hydroseeded and straw on it to get grass growth. There are regulations that you must maintain the silt fence until you have vegetative stabilization of that area, which means full grass growth, 95% covered in grass. For Cheverly Day, which we actually talked about today, I will be actually reaching out to the sediment control inspector tomorrow morning to, as Mr. Cardenas had mentioned, to get approval to create a gap in that fence, temporarily relocate a section of that silt fence so that we can create a pedestrian cut through there. Mr. Cardenas talked about that the town has wood chips that we could bring in, put down to help stabilize it for a safe passage across there for pedestrians for Cheverly Day. Following Cheverly Day, the silt fence would have to be reconnected and closed back off until we get the vegetative stabilization. Now that can be the seed growth, it could be sod put in, and we can talk about, but that's, right now, that fence would need to stay there because you don't want to leave the silt fence by itself. That could be a tripping hazard if people try to step over that themselves.
Okay, so thank you for that. I just will say, this meeting you're having tomorrow is with the appropriate governing body?
I'm going to call the sediment control inspector who would have the authority to authorize us to make a change there.
So I just want to make sure, if anyone has any other changes that they want to suggest or explore, now is the time to say that, or maybe that is a morning meeting, that's a walkthrough that's worth having before you make that call, because it seems like we should be trying to honor at least the spirit of that as much as we can.
The rest of the fence, if I could answer the other part of the question, is general liability insurance requirement for safety and, public. It's an attractive nuisance right now, and it's unfinished. And until it's turned over, which is basically and then it's turned over to the owner, to you guys, the general liability insurance policy says you have to protect that nuisance, and that's what the fence is doing. What I will do is call the insurance company tomorrow and ask them if there are ways to adjust or change or even delete the requirement for the fence when we get to a certain point. I would not suggest it while we still have heavy equipment running up and down and around. We're going to get to the point pretty quickly where that's really not happening anymore, and it's just a few people with hand tools in the building or maybe out back putting pieces of equipment, but it's going to, again, be in the building. It's not going to be driving, big trucks and stuff. I think our next biggest operation is probably paving, and then the topping slab on the racetrack, which should be, the 9th and the 10th was the racetrack. We're trying to get the asphalt prior to that. So that should be the last of the big equipment outside, but I'll call the insurance company to see if there's a way we can work something out at some point and let them tell me what the possibilities are.
Yeah, please do, and that's some of what I meant of, does it have to be exactly where it is? Because if you can give them an update and say, hey, the building is fully constructed, what we're doing now is X, Y, Z, can we move it back so that it is protecting where the heavy equipment is, but that gives more people access to more space? Like, I don't want to make that many proposals because I don't know exactly what space we need. But the question is, since it's no longer I know it's technically an active site, but it's no longer a fully in construction zone. Can we contain it more so that the residents can enjoy more of the park?
Yeah, the biggest problem with the park is that's not where we're driving trucks anymore. It's the grass and the sod that she spoke of earlier.
Oh, unfortunately,
Which grass
I'm very
takes
aware.
a little while to sprout.
All right, I think Councilmember Wade, you get the last word here.
Yeah, I just want to make sure for the Saturdays, the soccer games, will there be any type of work being done on Saturdays during that time that we need to know about?
We have asked for a park closure the 9th and the 10th when we do the heavy equipment and the paving. There's going to be another day prior to that. I think that's a Thursday and on a Friday, if I'm not mistaken, the 9th and the 10th.
Okay, but no Saturday, the main thing is Saturdays.
Right now, we don't have a Saturday plan to close the park.
Okay.
And just as an aside, I was told the park was supposed to be closed on the day that you are referencing, and it wasn't. So I don't know what the miscommunication was there, but my information is that it had been requested to be closed and was supposed to be.
And as I told that individual then, we're not stopping town operations or activities to accommodate heavy machinery or work being done. As I've indicated before, you all have had the entire summer, you all had the spring, and you all had all those Saturdays to do work on the field when the field wasn't being occupied. So one of the busiest Saturdays of the year, you all chose to do work. All of a sudden, we will not be shutting down town activities to accommodate you all. We have provided a lot of accommodations, and we're not providing any more.
Mr. LeGloahec, did you have anything?
I was just going to say that I was speaking with the Cheverly Day Committee, and there is a walkthrough on the 29th.
Yeah, the final walkthrough
Yeah, so
with the town
just
staff.
if we can have some answers by the 29th as to what the space will look like.
I've actually invited them to that meeting as well so that they can be there to answer any questions that the Cheverly Day can have.
Something from the insurance company by then.
Okay.
The grass is what it is as far as the growing season and all, and we'll have that cut through. But as for the rest of it, I'll find out.
Thank you.
All right, so as we wrap this item up, are we having a phone call tomorrow at 4:30 so that we're 100% clear on when we're getting this plan?
No, our next meeting is not until Tuesday. The meeting that we had, the second meeting that we had this week was today. We're not due for another meeting until Tuesday at noon, but they're supposed to let us know as soon as they get a schedule for UNO. Is that your interpretation, Robin?
That's correct.
All right, so I think the mayor and council would like to hear from the town staff as soon as that, the results, the outcome of that meeting, as soon as it happens. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, I just wanted to add that when we had this meeting today, I request to have 1 or 2 or 3 shifts working to get these projects done as soon as possible. And I mentioned that if I also have to be here day and night, I will be here making sure that everything is getting done as soon as possible. And they told me that they were going to give me an answer by today, and it's almost 11. There's no answer.
I did not say that. I said I would look into it, and we would get back to you with options if we had them.
I mean,
I did not say I would do anything today.
There's options. You know you can do that.
I need to check with the people, and I need to see the plan, and I need to investigate it a little bit. It's not something I can answer in a couple hours, and I did not say I would give you an answer today.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the last thing I'll say is, like, it's clear that the company has put you in a terrible position, and so there's a little part of me that's empathetic to that. I think the failures are manifest on the company, and they have saddled you with that. That said, we need the company to spare no expense to get this project done as quickly as possible. The company has underperformed massively in the first, whatever it was, 24 months that they've been working, however many months it was. And we need them to spare no expense to get it across, to make up for that underperformance and get it done.
I agree with everything you said, and that's what we intend to do, is to spare no expense and spare no unturned question or rock that needs to be dealt with to get to the finish line. I think you have a question over here.
You have public input on the Keller construction. Okay, it's 10:40. You have 2 minutes.
I heard somebody mention sod. So one of the
Right.
things that could be requested of Keller would be to stabilize that area by laying down sod so the community can have access and have that fence removed. If sod was put in the next couple of days, I would turn to our Public Works Acting Director. If that would meet the requirement, and also looking to you to be able to open that area, if that would be considered stabilized. It may be destroyed in the process, but it's a way to get to good if that is within the realm for the week ahead.
All right, thank you for that. Councilmember Tanzi, do you have the last word on this?
Yes, sure. I want to say that when we say spare no expense, like, I don't know what the rules are, but that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It can mean extra shifts. It can mean you have to spend money that you then have to undo, right? It's totally wasted money. You put down sod, it gets destroyed, and then you put it again, right? Like, we need really creative solutions to try to meet whatever is legally and technically possible.
We did talk about sod today as a potential option for doing that, but there's still concerns that even sod won't take quick enough for anybody to walk across safely. It would allow us to remove the silt fence, which would allow us to remove the chain link fence, but the sod is still not walkable. I'm not talking about destroying it and having to replace it. I'm talking about people tripping, breaking ankles, and having a real tough time just navigating it.
Councilmember Frye.
I apologize. I had a bio break, and when I came back, I think I heard something about this Saturday moving it indoors, but the elevator doesn't work. So what is our plan, and how are we doing that, and who's responsible for paying for all of that? Because I imagine it's going to be an expense.
Go ahead.
First time I heard about an elevator being required for this was today. So there's never
For a
been
ribbon
any-
cutting?
Yes, there's never been any conversation prior to this about an elevator being ready or even.
Well, I mean,
a
ribbon
second
cutting, you
floor.
assume the building is ready too. That's kind of, so.
There's been a lot of miscommunication and lack of communication on both sides about the entire day's operations, including who is providing tents and so forth. So absolutely no conversation before today about an elevator which needs UNO to operate. And I think it's been clear for a little while that UNO was not imminent.
Yeah, UNO is not imminent.
It's not going to be this week or even, in a couple of days. So,
So the 27th, we got to that date together?
Yes, we did.
Right, and we pushed it out.
We did.
As far as we could to give ourselves, ironically, more breathing room. Like, we thought it was so far in the future, like, how could we not be ready?
But with Keller, we picked this date together. We're ribbon cutting together.
Correct. Some iteration of Keller agreed that it was a reasonable date.
Okay. Am I wrong to assume that a ribbon cutting means that the building is ready to go into and that there would be an elevator that would be workable?
Are you wrong for saying what?
To assume?
No, I think we all made the same assumption.
Okay.
I have seen ribbon cuttings where it's literally just outside in the parking lot, cut a ribbon, have some coffee, and
But usually the building is tourable. You can go in, maybe you're not holding other events in there,
I'm
but.
not so sure that's a universal assumption, but
And see, that's the lack of
That's your-
communication that your company is having with you, because we were very clear with the past project manager on what this ribbon cutting was going to look like. We have been since we planned it.
okay.
Okay, so, but we're coming up with some sort of solution to make sure that it's going to be an accessible event, but I imagine that's going to cost money. So I think that probably needs to be part of the conversation as well.
Well,
So,
All right, so it's 10:45. Do you want to give maybe 1 minute or two on what folks can expect on Saturday? I mean, what the solutioning, because, again, I'm not a mathematician, but I'm pretty sure it's 36 hours from now. So when somebody comes down the hill at 1 o'clock on Saturday, what is the whole team, what's the show? What's the magic happening?
we're still determining that internally. However, we do have a plan. And let me tell you what the plan was. We had a rain plan. We're going to have the ceremony indoors, upstairs on the second level. We have to get lifts now for people that cannot use the elevator because, once again, an expectation that hadn't been met. So we have to get 2 lifts, actually, because there are 2 flights. So not only do you have to get carried to one level, you have to get on another lift and get on that lift and go to if you're going upstairs. But the event will start at 1 p.m. sharp, and we look forward to celebrating this building. Although it won't be opening, I don't see us getting into the building, or at least having our first town meeting in that building, until January. And I'm just being honest.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Okay, well, please come down and you'll all be as surprised as I am with what happened Saturday. But we appreciate, Mr. Galloway, you and your team creatively solutioning the issues. And I mean, I hope it's accessible. I'm worried about the accessibility. I'll just say that, but I know you are too. Mr. Garces, perhaps you could have the last word on this topic.
Now, honestly, I just want to say truly disappointed, but I guess everybody voiced that already, so let me just add it on to that. I do want to say, Luis, thank you for overseeing all this as well, and Mr. Galloway, thank you and your team as well. I guess pretty much just whatever you guys need, whatever support you guys need from town council and mayor, please let us know. I know you guys definitely have our full support, and that goes to Luis and his team as well as you, Mr. Galloway.
Yeah, thank you for that, council member. Okay, Mr. Galloway, do you want to, we got 14 minutes. Do you want to kick off your report, your update?
Yeah, I'll kick it off real quick. And before I get started with that, I'll just let you all know whatever expense that we have for making it accessible, I'll pass it on to Keller. But just to let you all know, the WSSC walk-in meeting was a success last week. I do want to thank the general manager, Keisha Powell, for coming. We were able to look at projects in Ward 2, Ward 3, and I think around Ward 4. So just very appreciative of her coming down. We had a great time. Mayor, you were there. So I think that was definitely a good representation of what the town can do. As it relates to speed humps, Mayor and Council, following the directive from the last town council meeting, we were able to get the speed humps installed on 63rd Place. So confident now that we've provided a safer place for kids in the morning and kids in the, these are permanent ones. Yeah, so thanks to acting director for making that happen and pushing our contractors. Just to let you all know, for Cheverly Day, please plan to arrive by 5 p.m. if you're not here, just so that we can get on the stage, do the Employee of the Year, the Citizen of the Year award, that type of stuff. But to also let you all know that we're going to be hosting the pickleball tournament this year in the gym from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., which is a change in activity that we've ever done followed by a 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. 3-on-3 basketball tournament. So, we're going to get multi-uses out of the gym this year, and I look forward to such an activity. Mayor and Council, just to let you all know that the Columbia Park Road, the red light camera, I've been working directly with PepCo, and in fact, I've had a conversation today with our representative. The chief, myself, the assistant chief, we are in an email thread trying to get an understanding as to why those red light cameras haven't been installed yet and why PepCo is holding this up. So as soon as we get more information, we definitely will let you all know. The retreat date for Mayor and Council with Ms. Janice Taylor will be on November 7th and 8th. So everyone confirmed that you all will be available for those dates. Please put that in your calendar, and more details will be coming out soon. I don't have them right now, but more details will be coming out soon. Okay? I would imagine that Friday would be in the evening, that Saturday would be somewhat of an all-day event. Okay? As it relates to State Street, the church update, the owners of the church on the State Street obtained a building permit on September the 16th. One of the DPI inspectors will be in touch with them to review the construction timeline and confirm any additional trade permits that may be required. Since the permit has been issued, the building can no longer be demolished unless the project is abandoned again. I have requested meetings with our county council member and at-large member so that we can meet with the DPI director to discuss this matter. And we do need to have a discussion about this as it relates to the zoning purposes of that building, but also just the current situation of it. That building has been deemed unsafe. As far as 4601 Lido Road, you want me to take this one or you want to do it? Okay. A business was operating out of the parking lot without permission from the town or county. Timu was dropping off pallets of merchandise, and subcontractors were breaking down the items and loading it into their vehicles. This raised concerns with our code compliance officer, who notified Deputy Chief Krause. They inspected the site yesterday, shut down the operation, and directed the operators to remove the trash left behind. We went there today to see if the operations were still going on, and they were not there today. So just to let you all know, there was an abundance of trash that was along the Lido Road corridor, and we will continue to hold them accountable, okay? As it relates to sidewalk and retaining wall, we have a brand new sidewalk and retaining wall on 62nd Avenue. If you haven't seen it, please drive by there. It's a beautiful pedestrian crosswalk. And we do want to put a mirror there for people turning off of 202 onto the 62nd Avenue so that everyone is safe. Something that I have to mention, the mayor brought this to my attention, and then, there was a structure on 57th Avenue. I do want to give a shout out to the police department, Deputy Chief Krause, Code Compliance Officer O'Berry, and what all the officers were there for okay. The town received a call about someone living in a structure on 57th Avenue. The area was unsafe, so Code Compliance and the police department visited the site. The individual explained that he wanted to return home to Arkansas with his family. Our police department and Code Compliance team provided him with food, cash, and a train ticket home. We are fortunate to have such a compassionate and dedicated team, and just take my hats off to the team that we have here. Now, people were driving by saying, "Leave him alone." So they were not there to chastise him. They were there to help him. So if you hear that, please correct the narrative. We're here to help. Mayor and Council, we've set the precedent before. I do want to make this request so that we can plan properly as a town. December the 26th, the day after the holiday, which is after Christmas holiday, which will be on a Friday. Once before, you all have granted an holiday off. And Mayor and Council, I wanted to ask if we could do the same thing and do all town-wide trash on that Monday, December the 29th. So just wanted to see if I can get some feedback from the Mayor and Council so that we can plan accordingly.
So, I mean, we should probably vote on this. Do you want to vote at the October town meeting? Or any objection to that? I have historically voted against this, but I don't get a vote this time, so. Okay, so let's, there seems to be consensus to put this on the October 9 agenda then, for a vote.
Okay.
Does that gives you enough time to plan?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
And
I'm just looking forward to the next one, please.
which one, the?
Work business roundtable.
Oh, I was going to skip that. But okay, Mayor, so we will have the business roundtable. I do have a list of all the businesses that we are touching base with, so we're doing a survey right now to figure out which day works best, and then after we get that, give us 2 weeks. By the next town meeting, I'll be able to confirm the date of the business roundtable.
It ain't happening on November 11th.
That's fair.
Well,
Well, especially we're going to have it in the new building.
yeah, well, that was the goal, so it looks like it'll be in the gym. So, absolutely.
Councilmember Fry.
I will make a motion to extend the meeting till 11:15 so that we can make sure that we get through everything.
Second.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded to extend the meeting a further 15 minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? It passes 6-0. Go ahead, Mr. Galloway.
Okay, so just one more thing, Mayor and Council, I do want to turn the floor over to Chief Morris, who I want to speak to you briefly about maybe social media and our presence in social media, but also some policy decisions from the Cheverly Police Department. So, Chief Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Galloway. And Mayor and Council, I'll try to keep this as brief as I can, but I think it's important to state I'm not typically accustomed to explaining how or why I make certain decisions when those decisions are consistent with policy. I allow 40 years of experience to speak for that. However, with that said, I think it's important for this community and for this mayor and council to know, and I think I've demonstrated this since I've been here, that when I do make decisions, I make decisions in the best interest of the community, the department, and then individuals. The community's best interest always comes first and foremost in any decision. Sometimes those decisions align across all three, and that's a win. For example, this former mayor and many of the members of this council approved a hiring retention bonus for new police officers, similar to what many agencies are doing, not just across the state, but across the country, in order to try to attract quality candidates. And it's a lucrative bonus of $20,000 paid over a period of 4 years. But that is an employment agreement. And that employment agreement is the responsibility of me as your chief to manage in such a way as to make sure that we are getting the most return on our investment when we are using tax dollars of our community to pay for those bonuses. And I believe that I strongly believe that the fiscal responsibility rests on me. And I take that responsibility seriously because that's not my money, that's the money of the residents and business owners that operate and live here in Cheverly. So with that said, while there's certainly an advantage to having those employment agreements for the town because it attracts quality individuals. It also demonstrates a commitment to be here and to serve in this community, to be able to learn this community as police officers and be able to learn the values of this community and work within the values of this community. It also benefits the department because there's extensive expenses when associated with recruiting, hiring, training, outfitting police officers. Just the cost of the required psychological examinations and voice stress or truth verification confirmation is $1,000 per person. So there's an extensive amount of money that we're spending, so we want to make sure that we're getting a return on the investment. Likewise, the benefit to the officer is that they're getting a monetary benefit. But again, that is an employment agreement. When those employment agreements when the responsibility of living up to those employment agreements are abdicated by the individuals that agree to them, I have a responsibility to this town to make sure that we capture back those costs that are associated with that agreement. And I don't make any apologies for that, nor should I, because again, as I said, that's my responsibility to make sure that I'm being fiscally responsible with the town's money. Unfortunately, some individuals feel that that those retention bonuses were paid to them and in a manner that they shouldn't have to repay them. And the employment agreements are very clear that anyone that, one, they don't have to enter an employment agreement. They can choose to work for the town for the paychecks, and they can be here for 3 days, 3 months, 3 years, 30 years, or they can enter an agreement. That's an individual employee's choice. But if they enter it, my responsibility is to hold them to that agreement. We make a good faith effort on our part as the town. We expect the return of the good faith effort on the part of those employees. When those employees leave prematurely, that's a decision they make. I'm certainly not going to hold someone back. I think folks have a right to work where they're happy or seek other employment where they think that they can better serve. We all have that right to be able to come and go where we want to be able to work and choose where we want to work, but they still entered an employment agreement. Unfortunately, there are those that seem to want to take to social media and use a shaming game, a blaming game, or a bullying game. And I can tell you, at my age and the amount of experience that I have, I'm not intimidated by it. But I want this community to know that I will continue to make my decisions in the best interest of the community first. That is utilitarianism at its most fundamental core, that we do the greatest good for the greatest amount of folks, and that's the town of Cheverly. So as your chief, that continues to be my commitment. I won't be bullied. I won't be shamed. I won't be blamed. I have a responsibility, and I take that responsibility seriously. And I appreciate the town manager allowing me to have an opportunity to speak, because word spreads in ways on social media that I can't combat. I'm not worried about social media. I can face this community and tell you this is why I make my decisions and this is how I make them, and I hope that the community can appreciate and respect the manner in which I do that. Thank you. You can handle that one.
Thank you for that. Go ahead.
Last thing, the police department will be having a forum on schedule for November the 18th. We had to change the date. November 18th at 6:30 p.m., and it should be held here in the gym.
Sounds like we don't have an alternative, but this is a crime forum similar to what we had maybe a year ago, or maybe it was, I think we might have had one as recently as February, but something like that. So it'll be here in the gym on November 18. Anything further, Mr. Galloway?
No, sir, that concludes my
Any
report.
questions from council for Mr. Galloway? Okay. Are we ready to have, we're all prepped and ready to have the market inside on Saturday?
We will be tomorrow, yes.
Okay, super. All right, Councilmember Fry and Councilmember Garces, item 10. Councilmember Garces, go ahead.
Yes. So I think I filled Amy a little bit, as well as Mayor, in regards to some of the conversations that I've been having with Christina, who is the regional manager of Ross Management for this region. So one of the things that me and Christina and I spoke about was the cameras. That was my main focus. And at the time being of the last ward walk that we had, which was like 2-3 weeks ago, she had said that in 6 weeks coming, cameras will be up throughout the whole complex. We're in week 4 or going on to 5. I've yet have seen any cameras. Chief, I'm not quite sure if they've been in contact with you or if they even reached out for any reason of that. But I know Mr. Galloway and I just had a conversation with Jennifer, who works for the office of Councilwoman Adam Stafford for District 5, who they're very in support of a lot of things that are going, and one of those are definitely the cameras. They're well overdue. Clearly, they don't mind taking fines. Clearly they have a budget for fines, I'm guessing, right? So, like I said, since we're entering 5th week, there's still no cameras up. Nothing has been brought up to my attention, or any updates in regards to that. We also did speak about security, their walk-in security, how, again, there's still these staggering hours that they have there, are still horrible. I have residents complain about people still somehow finding their way into the laundromats and sleeping there, or smoking large amounts of marijuana and pot, and they find like all different types of drugs in certain of these buildings. I know I reported some of these things to DC as well, our deputy chiefs as well. But it's just that they're just not doing enough at Cheverly Station Apartments, right? And then I believe I said this last town meeting as well, right? That we need to put some continued pressure on them. I believe that now it's more than ever. If you look at the vacant apartments at Cheverly Station Apartments, it's more than half, just about half of the apartment complex are empty, right? People are leaving, right? And not only that, but they're leaving with the thought of, man, this is Cheverly, right? And I don't know about y'all, but that stings a little bit, right? And so, like I said, we've been trying to get on them. I know Mr. Galloway's been on top of that, a couple of those issues as well. So that's where we're currently at with them. I know we also spoke to Councilwoman Shayla's office in regards to the AC and heating. They're super on board on trying to find some type of a way to get at them, because I know, as I told you guys last meeting, AC is a definitely issue there during the summer comings, and as well as the heat, right? And I could fill you guys more into that if I want to talk to you guys on one-on-ones in regards to that. But they're definitely on board. I'm just waiting for some forms for my residents to fill out to turn into the county. So that's definitely a big step. Just to continue collaboration with the county as well. So we're just trying to fight back.
Any questions for Mr. Garces from council? Councilman Fry, anything to add?
The only thing I would add is that those cameras, the town can enforce a fine on them if they don't have the cameras, just because of where that falls into the county code. It is our responsibility. It does not have to defer for enforcement to the county. So that's something that I think we should be looking at, because we are the ones who, at the end of the day, we are the ones who control those rental licenses and those inspections. So we're the ones who can say, this is not right. The way you're treating your residents, that you're not taking care of the mold, they have water issues, whatever it may be. So I think the buck stops with us. And if we're okay with the way that the residents of Cheverly are being treated, then we let it continue to happen. Otherwise, I think we have to be a lot more forceful about it. We've seen them react when we've told them that before. And they went out of their way to clean something up real quick and try to, make things more suitable in one building. So we know they can do it. So I think that that's what the conversation should be. Councilmember Garces has done a fantastic job trying to advocate for his residents. And sometimes I think we're making forward steps with the management there. And then there are other times that I just feel like they're putting on a show. And we're still trying to act in good faith. So I think the only thing is money talks. So unless they feel that there will be consequences for their lack of, creating a livable situation, then I think that's the only way that they're going to actually react.
And I'm sorry, and just to add to that, it's just that it's kind of a bummer, right? With that, I have residents that are leaving, overall Cheverly, right? And before they leave, they contact me, they send me texts, or they call me, hey, council member, thank you for everything, thanks to town. They're like, but until things don't change, we don't plan to come back to Cheverly, right? I'm like, wow, that's a blow, that stings, right? And and for Cheverly stations, and these residents do complain to the office, right? But for Cheverly stations, still not to, like they said, they take these seriously, but there's no change to that. It's like Councilmember Fry has said, I think it's time for them to start seeing, serious consequences, for all this negligence.
Mr. Galloway, do you have a quick reaction?
Yeah, just a quick reaction. Councilmember Garces, Councilmember Fry look forward to having this or an in-depth discussion at the next town hall meeting because by then some corrective actions will have taken place. So thank you.
All right. Any items, moving on to item 11, October town meeting agenda. It will be on the 9th. It's likely to be in this room, unfortunately. And the only item I'm tracking on the agenda other than the vote on the Christmas holiday is the budget. Anything anybody else has to add? No?
Not right now. No.
Okay. Any other comments? Vice Mayor.
I'm just not sure whether we've reached out to the Board of Election Supervisors yet, because they're meant to present at some point this fall on their recommendations.
Yeah, I wrote down 23rd work session. I have not reached out to them. Do you mind calling them or asking Mr. Deloach to call them? But I wrote them down for the 23rd work session, which is pretty full.
It is, yeah.
But that's where that is. I believe we also probably in the first half of October need to have a closed meeting. So council members, think about in the next few days, send us all your availability. Maybe we combine it with the 9th and do it at 6:30 but in the next 3 weeks, we need to have a closed session. So, yes.
We have to have our town priorities to PGCMA by the 12th of October. So I don't know if that's something that we want to submit and then talk about at the town meeting if these are going to be our priorities. I don't know if we've ever done it that way, but it would be good for us to put in our priorities to see what PGCMA is going to push for this next legislative session.
Okay, I'll write it down for the 9th. Anything else for the October agendas? So we're going to have town meeting on the 9th, work session on the 23rd, and then a closed meeting either on the 9th or some other time, pending your all availability. That concludes item 11. Item 12 is adjournment. Is there a motion? So moved. It has been motioned. Is there a second?
Second. Give it to Carson.
We're going to give this one to Mr. Garces for the second. Is there any discussion of the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? It passes 6.
Wait, who made the motion? I'm sorry, they're asking who made the motion.
It was Legloahec, yeah? Yeah. Legloahec made the motion to adjourn. The time is 11:15 p.m., and all the council members are still here. Good night.